So, last time on Wildemount, you went on into Stourmast's lair and encountered a quite strange lair with a number of kobolds, a series of speaking tubes attached throughout the lair itself. You even saw a shark-infested pool and rescued the bounty hunter Raphael Lindworm, who met a unfortunate fate as he was sent out onto the iron floor above the shark-infested waters and fell in, and then got eaten alive, which was pretty good. And then you headed on. You found more kobolds and a drow man who you managed to chase off, and eventually you made it all the way through to confront Huron Stourmast himself. But upon arriving, you were confronted by both the drow man once more, and a duergar, or a grey dwarf. And they left you with some difficult decisions, especially for Gertrude, who they started to perhaps plant seeds of doubt in her mind about the state of the war. But you couldn't let them do what they were planning to do to Hubbaduke, and so you stepped up and chose to face them in battle. But unfortunately, things were looking pretty grim as they managed to TPK you. However, something ominous happened. A holy trinity, you could say, was formed between Blossom, Firion and Gertrude, and with the power of Melora, the Wild Mother, Ioun, the Knowing Mentor, and Sehaheen, I don't know how you pronounce that, the Moonweaver, you were brought back and managed to stop Stourmast's nefarious plans. So, I shall move you over to your new base. So, since the last session, well, we're going to start off this session with discussing what you guys would have done in the 2 weeks of downtime that have taken place since that event. Now, one major thing you've been doing in that downtime is that you've hired 3 new members of staff. You have hired a cook, a halfling woman, known as Poppy Montague. She seemed the best of the bunch from what you could tell. And then secondly, you hired a bartender, a human man named Batista Lambert, who loves to tell everyone he meets about the new novel that he's been writing. And finally, you hired a housecarl to watch your base when you were to leave for any of your missions, your journeys out on the road. A Aarakocra man, quite old for an Aarakocra, in his early 20s. A man named Rick Aliak, who seemed particularly up on the latest fashions. So, they're also, I forgot to put in here earlier, because I'm an idiot. I did make them though. There also would be a number of gnome workers throughout the entire base, even up until the current day, because whilst everything you can see on the map is technically there, it's not completely finished. So a lot of them are still working on some of putting these things into place. So if you imagine that, I will dot them around the various places within the base, and especially over the pathway leading over the pool of sharks that were kept there near Firion's corner of the base. So, what would your characters have been doing over the course of the 2 weeks. You can choose to. I would like to roleplay out some things. If you guys would have had any specific interactions, whether you guys want to buy anything in this time, whether you guys want to explore the surrounding areas with Huppadook, you're more than welcome to, and we can try and roleplay out those scenarios.
I know the first thing the most important thing Gertrude would have done in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have written a report for the Order of the Cobalt Soul about the plan and what they were planning to do, and then the sort of mechanics of what they were going to do. So it's basically just a report of the investigation, what they foiled, what they learned from it, if there's any considerations about about how Huppadook could be exposed by this mountain, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes sense to me. So you write up a report and make your way down into the town to find the local post office, which essentially acts as basically more of a system of couriers who are sent usually on their own across the waste. They usually find that couriers can move a lot faster if they travel via horse with a number of letters in tow. They have different levels of couriers depending on how important certain documents are. So for a document pertaining to the Cobalt Soul, you would have seen quite a high tier courier, Gertrude, who would have reassured you that your letter would reach Zadash in prompt time.
She'd say, can you take it to the Valley Archive of the Cobalt Soul in Zadash?
Yes, of course. Is there anyone in particular you would like this sent to? So I will... let me quickly get up something for you. There is a number of sort of figures of interest in terms of the Cobalt Soul. You would know that the High Curator is a male human called Loman Turry, who's the herald of the Zadash Archive and has held the position of High Curator of the Valley Archive in Zadash and the title of Herald of the Archive under the Crown for over 40 years. But I haven't decided who would be your specific handler, Kieran, so you can obviously tell them who you want, and then you can come up with it in the meantime, who you want to. But I'll give you the homework of if you want to come up with who your sort of expositor is.
So it'd be an expositor training her to be an expositor, exactly. Someone overseeing.
Exactly, yeah.
She'd be like, him.
And he would be like, of course. And he would head off via horse towards a dash. And hopefully you'll receive a response at some point in the near future. But you're not sure when. Is there anything else anyone else would like to do?
She would have left out anything about getting resurrected and...
That's totally fair.
Iron, because, bit weird.
Yes, of course. I'll make note of that as well. Resurrection. Cool. What about Firion? What would he have been up to?
Firion would be quite single-minded. And to the point where it might even irritate or sadden his companions a little bit at times. Part of the reason he's chosen this front zone is that he can easily head out and back in without passing by anyone else.
Yep.
He would be trying to build a connection with the local area, doing little druidic rituals to connect with animals, the forests, the places around. I think he would probably see a lot of the mining and the resource intensive stuff going on and be very melancholic about it, but
Yeah.
probably also quite heartened by meeting little friendly animal friends.
Yeah, you would. I think Firion, having explored the surrounding areas, it's not close, and it's. Let me just double check, because I do have an interactive map to get the exact distance for me.
Fancy.
To see
Man,
this
I love the steam road.
Yeah, man.
So if Firion wanted to, he doesn't have to.
Sure.
But from Huppadook, the closest area of woodland would be a place called the Crispvale Thicket, which is about. You can probably travel about 30 miles. It'd probably be about a day's travel away. But it might be a place you might want to explore, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you would be able to
100%.
travel a day beyond Huppadook, beyond the smoky stacks of all the industrial machinery, and forward to a place that's more comforting to you, a place of nature and forests and more animals as well, as the grasslands seem to converge on a place that you can see the reforms into its natural environment rather than the mountainous and very harsh region of the Silberkel Ridge in general. But on top of that, the way the ground has been, in Firion's opinion, I imagine, very much abused and taken away. So yeah, you would be able to. What would Firion be looking for throughout this place?
I think he'd be looking for any evidence of other nearby druids, so any markings in druidic anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't be his first priority. His first priority would be speaking to local wildlife, and because with Circle of the Shepherd, he can talk to the animals and they understand him.
Indeed.
And he can decipher their noises and motions, so he'd just be like building up connections, and any nearby animals, he'd be asking them if they wanted a warm place to sleep and have food and stuff like that. Offer them his lodgings.
Okay, that's interesting. Roll me a d20, just a standard d20.
Yeah. 4.
4, okay. The first thing Firion would find would be a small herd of deer
Oh.
that are prancing throughout the fell. At first, they're quite nervous and quite skittish around any that are unfamiliar to the woods, but with Firion's calming nature and his ability to talk to animals, he soon finds himself over a series of a few days being able to calm and bring these animals to a point where they feel they can trust Firion. Another thing you would find throughout, you would find a number of like jaybirds who are flying throughout the trees. You see a number of nested. You as yourself, you're being quite a tall individual. You can look down and see into some of the nests in the lower trees that have got young in them, which is quite unusual for this time of year. You think to yourself.
Yeah.
But regardless, it seems that these jaybirds, perhaps upon talking to them, learn that things came early this year in terms of breeding season, and there seems to be that these jaybirds aren't this isn't their home, the Crispvale Thicket in this part of the Empire, and in fact they came from further to the west, the east, closer to Jorhas and the wastes beyond, more living in a more mountainous forest regions upon there, but that they would tell you that there's been quite a lot of unrest there recently, and it's sort of it's scared them and forced them to fly further west to escape any of that unrest.
Okay. Awesome.
Okey-doke. What about you, Blossom?
I don't think Blossom would have been doing anything of particular significance. I think she probably would have, if Gertrude would have helped, she would have sent some letters to her family.
You could have certainly done that.
If Gertrude would have written to her mum and sister probably at the same time that she is helping Blossom as well.
That'd be cute. And while you're writing the letters, it'll be like Blossom's going back and forth. Oh, I forgot to write this. Oh, and then she'll bring it back. Oh, I forgot to write this as well. It'll be constantly like that. Other than that, she'd be like gorging herself on all the food in Huppadook, getting loads of sparklers. She's basically got a hoard of sparklers in her room now.
Yeah.
Probably annoying Firion quite a lot while he's there. And probably annoying these workers as well. It's probably she's casting mirror image. She's casting not mirror image, the other one. She's casting mage hand.
Yeah.
Trying to help, mage hand that helps. But yeah, it's not very helpful.
Yeah, and the workers would become frequently. They're being paid, so they're going to get on with their job, but they would occasionally, sort of one or two of them might be like, just let me get on when they work!
Say, oh no, is this crack supposed to be there? Oh, I'll help.
And they just, they carry on with their work, but you do manage to slow them down a little bit by a day or two with your continuing distractions throughout the chambers. So, did anyone...
Oh, wait.
Oh, go on, Gertrude.
Gertrude, there's some other things. Well, she'd want to set up a little garden outside, like for herbs and, root vegetables.
Okie doke.
And you'd also want to, get, things to do preserving and vegetables from Huppadook and bring it up.
You would be able to do that. Let me just quickly write that down. So, to get preservatives. Awesome. Yeah, and you would, visiting Huppadook, you would find a shop that sells a number of vegetables, run by a man named Lorenzo Shelby. Yeah, Tom knows that name. Yeah. And he would happily sell you a number of fresh vegetables and herbs and anything of the like. And he also would hold a number of seeds for gardening. But in total, it depends how much you wanted to buy. But you could probably buy maybe 2 weeks' supply for possibly about 10 gold in total.
Yeah,
to sort of get yourself going with all the jars and stuff. So yeah, if you want to remove 10 gold from your inventory, you can do so, and that will add to the preservative stores. I will put down that there is essentially you've got all the basic equipment for preservative stuff now. And you've got about 2 weeks' supply of stuff basically for stuff involved with making more of it or any kind of herbs, etc.
Yeah. And I think while she's in Huppadook, because it's quite a learned place, right? It probably has a library or archive somewhere.
Not exactly does it have an archive, but it does have what it does have within Huppadook is that it has where is it? It has a temple to Moradin the Allhammer, called the Prayer Foundry, which is a mighty octagonal structure resembling a massive anvil atop a iron shrine. And within you can you would be able to find a small library within the Prayer Foundry itself that would hold a number of holy texts, but also more things of an arcane nature. And you would just quickly check. You would find a older man, sort of a man who've both religious nature and of the arcane. A man named Billy Bar Potix, who runs the sort of library as part of the Prayer Foundry. And he was a small little gnome man, quite old, very old. You probably think in his late 300s, maybe even 400 years old, this man.
Yeah.
And very much a religious man, but also a man who enjoys collecting texts of an arcane nature and also just general history.
Okay.
So anything like that you'd be able to get your hands on if you wanted to.
She'd be looking for books which are related to growing vegetables, but like magically enhancing them and that kind of stuff.
Okay, he'd say,
well, dearie, I have a number of arcane books you could possibly look at, and not so much pertaining to vegetables, but I will say that you should there's a place in the upper tier, you should try a place called Bentbinders on the Idlework shelf. A man named Manston runs it, I believe. He might have more books pertaining to your vegetables, but of an arcane nature, I may be able to find something pertaining to the growth. There are many spells that involve enlarging and reducing the size of things, and many kind of transmutation magics. Is that the sort of thing you're looking for?
Well, it's a good place to start for sure.
Okay, well, we don't sell books here per se, but I am willing to lend them to you. But I would require a name and a small donation to the foundry. But you will get it on return of the book. Obviously, you'll get your money back. But it is more of a insurance policy.
Of course.
Very well. I'll find a number of books on the topic.
And you'd see he goes off through this small, humble little library, sort of fanning through a number of books, reaching out. That some are probably a little bit too high for him, and he has to sort of slowly get this old ladder out that squeaks along the floor, like to line it up to the right bit. And you're like kind of awkwardly watching on as this old man is like very slowly pushing this ladder and then trying to climb up the thing as really slowly as he can, and then gently reaches a number of books out for you. And
she'd try and help him if he looked like he wanted help. He wouldn't just let him struggle.
He would, as you go to help him, he would be like,
"It's okay, dearie. I may look old, but I've still got a spring in my step."
And he keeps trying to. He kind of waves you off and insists on continuing to find the books that you need. Just write something down. Okie doke. So he hands you a number of arcane books about sort of transmutation magic and magic involved with the ability at large. You could probably read through them over the course of these 2 weeks if you wanted to.
Yeah, she'd probably use it for reading at night or just before it gets dark, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't like try and power through it, but she
Yeah.
would have them around.
And did you want to also visit the bookshop he recommended in the Idlework shelf, Bent Binders?
Yeah, definitely.
Upon arriving, you find a small little shop that looks like an oddity compared to the rest of the buildings in the Idlework shelf. Usually they're quite big, grand houses, almost mansion-like in their design. But this tiny little shop is almost like a half tilted to the side, the roof, that looks like it's about to fall off, with the sort of odds and ends hanging from the eaves of the house. It's got one single window on the inside. It's almost like when you see that building in, I think it's in New York City, where it's like massively small compared to all the other houses. It's quite a small little sort of almost like a hobbit home within this otherwise quite lively district. And upon entering, you enter going from hard cobblestone floor to like creaky old wooden floorboards and these old rough like leathery like rugs and sort of animal furs that are splayed out across the flooring. And you can see that as you enter, there's fucking books everywhere. There's shelves on the side holding books up with all these different like bookends of these old weird looking like stylized caricatures of old looking gnomes and almost like Toby Jug kind of style kind of bookends holding a lot of these things on, and also just like bookshelves lining every wall that are in a complete and utter mess as you go in, as long tables are just filled with open books just scattered everywhere. And you'd see a middle-aged male gnome coming out like, "Oh, ha, ha, a new customer? How goes it?"
It's going well. I'm just appreciating the smell of the bookshop.
"Oh, yes, it is very nice." He holds out a hand and he's like, "Manston Manmon, pleasure to meet you."
Gertrude von Tillage. She shakes his hand.
Yes, it is so nice to meet a young halfling girl from Wildemount. It is rather chilly in this land, don't you think?
Well, I suppose.
I moved here from Marquette. It was too hot in Marquette and now too chilly in Wildemount.
Oh, that's kind of what weather does.
Indeed. I assume you are here to buy my latest selling novel. And he points to this book, the only book that looks like it's in pristine condition, and it's almost like slightly see-through case sitting on the front desk of this shop. And it's a pitch. The book just has his face on the front with like him holding his chin in like a very like brooding fashion as he kind of stares off into this like a kind of badly painted sunset. And it says on the top, Manston Manmorn's multinational, multifaceted, mostly magical manifesto.
Amazing.
It is a top seller right now.
It's got quite an interesting title.
Yes, well, that is how you get the people to judge the book by its cover, yes.
What's it actually about?
It is about my life. About all the stories. It is a book, I like to think of it as a fictional biography of the auto variety.
So just fiction then?
No, there is many tales that are true, and I like to throw in my own poetry in there, my own stories to use as metaphors to make up my fantastic life that I have had in Marquette and my journey to Wildemount.
Oh, that sure sounds...
Also, there are a number of chapters on my political ideologies as well.
I see.
Would you like to buy it?
Well, I'm more here for arcane texts.
Very well, very well. He looks kind of like slightly disappointed and irritated.
How much is it?
Well, it is currently a bestseller. A book of such fine quality for a simple 5 gold pieces. Or perhaps I can interest you in a signed edition for 15 gold pieces.
Gertrude's gonna buy a book of signature just to placate him.
Okay, 15 gold pieces then you hand over. And he's like, I knew you were a smart girl. That's what they say about halflings, very smart.
I've never really been out of this region, so it should be interesting.
Well, I am sure you will love reading about Marquette. Like I said, it is very hot there.
What's this language? So she like flicks through it. How complex is like the language?
It's not very. It's not very good.
But is it easy to read?
Yeah, I mean, technically yes, but it like he doesn't seem to have a great grasp on the use of punctuation. So
okay.
A lot of sentences ramble for far longer than they should, and his use of paragraphs is there is a page in the book which is literally without paragraphs.
You could use it to just like pick up learning words, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, she says to him, I think I have a friend who might be interested in this. We might read it together.
Oh, very well. I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Very interested in adventure.
Please come back anytime and let me know. And you said you wanted an arcane book of... I'm sure I can fish through something. What kind of thing are you looking for?
Anything pertaining to growth of flora, that sort of thing.
Let me have a look. Let's do an investigation check for him.
Gertrude help?
Yeah, if you want, with advantage.
Seeing she used to be an archivist.
He gets an 8.
Oh god.
It takes him a significant amount of time, and he finds a book about the growing of pumpkins for the Hazel Festival. But beyond that, he doesn't have anything particularly useful, it seems. If it was, then it'd probably be under this mountain of books upon this long table.
It should take that book because it is relevant to what she's... I mean, she's going to the Hazel Festival.
So you get he would say, usually I would charge about 2 gold pieces for such a book, but since you are such a partaker in the bot-selling bestseller, I will only charge you 5 silver pieces.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you can add a book about the Hazel Festival and the growing specifically of how to grow the best pumpkin for the Hazel Festival competition.
On her way back, she'd pick up some pumpkin seeds as well.
Yeah, you would be able to do it for maybe like a silver. Like, you wouldn't find much issue. Okay, so if you ever, I will say, if you ever want to grow any pumpkins, you would get advantage on your roll, essentially, to do so.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
As long as you read the entire book, obviously. And you don't get anything for reading Manston's terrible manifesto, because it's quite simply... You might get a tiny bit of knowledge about Marquette, but to be honest, you got no idea how accurate it is.
She's gonna, she'd get back and she'd be like, Blossom, I got you a present, but It's to help you learn how to read.
Oh, I like prisons.
And she gives her the book. She's like, I'm not sure how good it is, but the guy was from a place called Marquette.
She flicks through it. She reads she tries to read a little bit. She can read, but reads very slowly. And she's like, "Oh my god, it's amazing, Gertrude."
Would you read it over the course of the 2 weeks, either of you?
If
Depends how early you got it.
Blossom wanted to do it like an hour a day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not particularly long, so you could certainly get through it within 2 weeks, I'd say. Especially if you're doing an hour a day. Probably get through it in a number of days, to be honest.
Maybe half an hour a day. I can't imagine Blossom would want to read for that long a day.
Gets distracted very easily, yeah.
You would know that some of your knowledge you would gain from this, both of you. Gertrude, quickly do me a history. Both do me a history check just so I can see how knowledgeable you would already be on this. Blossom, do it with disadvantage because you're not particularly.
Yeah.
Okay, Blossom, you would not know any of this information before. Gertrude, you would have heard of the basic terms and stuff, but you're not overly familiar with the concepts. But from talking about it, you would learn that during the Age of Arcanum, which was essentially the second age of Exandria, that began over 1500 years prior to the sort of current time period, you would know that mortals tested the limits of arcane power and challenged the gods who had created them and brought about the escape of the once defeated betrayer gods, who were essentially a number of evil different gods who broke away from the pantheon. And you would know that during this time that Marquette was a lush home of a prominent civilization, but essentially since then, during the early years of the Calamity, which was a war between the betrayer gods and the prime deities, the continent essentially turned into a landscape of ash and desert. So it is like Manmorn said, it was very hot there. So you would learn of a number of different places. You know, there was he talks about in the book a central oasis city in the center of the Marquesian desert called Ankh-Karel, that seems to be where he is from, and he talks about eventually traveling with a merchant ship towards Zadash, in fact, for the Harvest Close Festival.
What would be the equivalent? Would it, if this place is Europe, Germany, would it be Arabia? Or North Africa?
Yeah, kind of, I suppose. Yeah, it would be, I believe it's further north in terms of the actual direction, in terms of the world map. Let me quickly have a look at the exact...
Oh, I meant is there anything about what the culture was like?
It'd probably be more like you said, kind of more Arabian-esque, I'd imagine. It's sort of more of that kind of things. It would be to the it would be to the south west of Wildemount, far to the southwest, or you can even say southeast. It was sort of, if you're doing the world, it would be that sort of direction. But it would definitely be south of Wildemount.
Okay.
So. But you would learn that information from reading the wonderful manifesto.
Oh.
So.
Did Blossom learn it as well?
You would, yeah.
Blossom would be telling Kafirian when he comes back all about it.
Gertrude would be he's down in Hupperduke if you want to meet him.
Oh, maybe. Sounds very interesting. I don't know if you'll want to meet me, though. I've not been anywhere.
You defeated the people who are going to destroy Hupperduke?
Oh, that's true. We are amazing. Let's go.
So you go down, introduce yourselves to Manmorn, and
well, Gertrude wouldn't have gone in. She'd have dropped off Blossom and be like, "I'm just going to get some farming supplies.
Yeah, he'd quite happily try and sell you one of his books again, even though you've read it. He would be very excited to meet a fan, and he would try and charge you for a signature if Blossom would partake.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he'd charge you 5 gold pieces for a signature.
You could sign my face as well. I'll never wash it off again.
Oh, very well, my dear. And he would sign with an ink on your face with a very badly scrawl across your face. He'd charge you another gold piece for that.
Of course he would.
Yep.
So yeah, Firion, what would, on your way back, you would be able to, if you wanted to, be able to bring some animals back to Wildemount. So
Yes.
do a quick survival check and then a nature check to me to see how successful you are in bringing these animals back.
Fuck.
Not a great start. You do lose a number of deer along the way who kind of lose faith in leaving the Crispell thicket, and they're kind of like very skittishly, as soon as they see any kind of industry from Hubbadook, just run off in the other direction. However,
He's a false prophet. Don't follow him.
However, you do manage to bring a number of deer up to the thing. Let me find. Why are all the pictures of deers on Roll20 of deers that are dead? So let me quickly.
Yeah.
So you get a couple of deer. You join the cave and are very eagerly eating. You would also.
He would warn them about Blossom
Doke.
in advance.
Let me just get.
I will say that before Firion came back, over the 2 days he was gone, I assume 2 days, she should have been collecting leaves and just putting them in his room.
No.
Doke. So you come back for and find your room covered in a number of different leaves. That some are more dry than others, some are quite wet. It really stinks out your room. And the few birds that were travelling with you kind of fly in, and they kind of look down to your room like, really? Is this your place that you brought us to?
He would say to the birds, "Judgment isn't a good look on you." And starts to collect up the leaves.
Yeah, a couple of them will kind of look down, slightly ashamed, and then kind of flutter off into the cave. They seem quite happy, sort of nesting in the roosts of the cave, and flying out during the day to. It's quite warm in the cave comparatively to the rest of the mountains, so they seem to quite enjoy nesting in here.
Excellent.
Especially with all the hay provided.
Oh my god, Firion, did you like my presents?
How do the animals react to Blossom's presence?
The birds also immediately are like, there's like an overhang slightly in part of the cave wall, and they kind of like they've been nesting and tucking themselves up there, and they kind of like looking over, and as soon as she looks up in her voice, they kind of like retreat backwards into this overhang. Whilst the deer seem less bothered at first, but as they get closer, as she gets closer, they kind of skittishly move off into the sort of the rest of the cave.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's cute deers.
Blossom.
Yeah. Welcome back, Firion.
Thank you. I wasn't gone particularly long.
Oh, it was too long, Firion. 2 days, that's really long.
Are these yours? And he holds up the leaves.
Yeah, they're my presents to you. I thought they looked pretty, and I bought them.
Right. I'll put them here. He just kind of puts them down next to him on the ground.
Okay, they're yours now. You could do what you want with them, but I just thought they looked pretty, and they were just a good present for you because you like leaves, and you couldn't find any of those really big leaves, though.
What led you to believe I like leaves?
Do you know, I guess I just thought you like leaves.
Is it because I wear the same color as leaves?
Maybe. You would blend in really good with leaves.
I'll keep that in mind. These are friends who will be staying here in my section of our cave. If you could keep your voice down around them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's. I will. Firion. They're really cute. Can I pet them?
Kind of looks up at the jays, and he says in Sylvan, "Would any of you humor this small woman as she wants to stroke you?"
Do a persuasion check.
0.
No. They instantly retreat back and are like they like doing that thing. They clack their beak together really hard, to kind of warn Blossom away.
Perhaps once they're more used to the cave, they've only just moved in.
No, you're right, Firion. We need to make friends first, don't we, birdies? And she'll wave up at them.
They're just like looking down at you, like one is like narrowing its beak and kind of like, kind of like pecking in your direction.
I'll leave you to move in, though. Okay, I'll come back later. On. I don't know. I'll come back later.
I look forward to it.
And then, as she's going like down the hallway, she'll send a little message to the message cantrip to Firion. Over and over again. So like, oh my god, Firion, they're so cute. I don't want to make lots of noise, but they're so cute.
Every message just gets an answer of okay. Okay to each one.
So, throughout these... Go on, Gertrude, sorry.
Can Gertrude roll for her preserve making throughout the 2 weeks?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah. Make, I'd say 1 per week, so do 2 rolls. 9 and a 21.
Ooh.
Hopefully I added the hobby rules to here, but I may have forgotten. Oh, fuck, did I forget?
It's not in supplemental, so...
Yeah, I think I forgot, which is completely my bad. I did. If you don't mind sending it to me quickly, Kieran.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd probably change the amount of points.
Yeah, I already had that in mind. How many? I was going to make it essentially plus 10 the amount of points you needed. Because that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I could say for a longer time.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one's like a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
So. Where is it? Hobby. Plus it works if there's a big break.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there will be lots of moments of downtime in this campaign like this.
Oh, Christ. My notes folder has just like exploded.
I know, tell me about it.
Goon missions.
I knew I was forgetting something. I did so much shit in here last week. That's the one thing I fucking forgot.
Did these guys move in? Did the staff get hired before Firion came back?
I'll cover that after we finish doing the hobby bit for Gertrude.
I just want to see if there's any interaction between Aarakocra Raven guy and the Jays that have moved in.
We shall find out.
Are other people doing their hobbies as well?
Sure, show me the selection. I'll pick some.
Why won't it?
Firions will be leaf collecting now, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Let me have a look. You might have sent it to me already.
It's just being stupid. It won't let me send.
Where's it?
Would Firion have been to Blossom's room? She's got a bear rug in here.
If it's easy, you could email me.
Firion would be going to Blossom's room, kicking and screaming. If he has to go to Blossom's room. As far as Firion is concerned, the cave ends here, but on the other side of the shark cave. No, he would roam. He's not complete recluse. I think especially he'd spend some time in the place where they fought Big Guy.
I was going to say the living room's quite
the
important.
symbol and everything, being quite reflective about that. And I think every now and then, for both Blossom and Gertrude, they'd just be like mid doing something, and Firian's head would like loom round the door or the opening to their room.
Hmm?
He'd just be like, "Do we have a purpose yet?"
Gertrude would just hold up like a cucumber, which she put in a jar of vinegar, and she's like, well, I'm just enjoying myself at the moment. You can help if you want.
Hmm.
And
My-
yeah, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say, the evening after Gertrude said that to him, Firian would be like at the shrine to Melora, being like, "Is my purpose to help Gertrude with her cucumbers?"
Mine is to collect sparklers, Firion. I want every colour.
With that, he wouldn't even ask Melora.
Have you got it, Liz?
Yep, I put it in the I forgot to rename it. Hobby table, and I shall put it under
Tabulous.
supplemental material.
Huzzah!
You should be able to find it in there. So yeah, feel free to roll.
Oh,
date's
yeah,
20,
she
so.
She got 1.
Gertrude got 9 preserves and 21 preserves.
She got 1 hobby point and 2 hobby points in proficiency in next day's session. And may accept a hobby point for another character who's training for free. Nice.
Just looking at the list real quick. Anyone
Could
for
you-
fear? Oh my god, there is one called leaf collecting. Jesus Christ.
Eh,
Yeah.
Could you make a handout and put it like Gertrude preserves,
Yeah, of course.
and then I can keep track of it in there.
Gertrude's preserves. And I'll give you control of it. And I'll put it under
Thank you.
player characters for you.
Oh, I've got one for Firian. He's gonna
Yeah.
do some floristry.
no.
Oh, that's perfect with all the flowers in the place.
Yeah, and he figures it might help keep Blossom off his back because her name's Blossom. You can keep her
Oh.
entertained with
That's a
flowers.
good idea. I think you already had one for Blossom, didn't you, Hannah? You had the spider breeding, whatever it was.
I can't remember.
I remember because I put these little webs of spiders up here. That she wanted to
Oh,
collect
yeah.
spiders or whatever.
Yes, spider
Cool.
collecting.
Cool and terrifying. Right, I
So-
should roll for Firian then. Should I do 2 as well?
Yeah, for one for each week.
What stat do we use, or is it just a straight D20?
I think
I can't remember how it works.
I used wisdom for I think you sort of choose the one that's the most.
yeah, I'd imagine dexterity for floristry is the one that makes most sense to me.
Yeah,
Is it
I like
cool?
that.
But spider collecting.
Probably
Intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah. That's a hard one. Probably charisma, because you're trying to you're trying to use your charisma and to sort of to tame them to some degree, I suppose. Damn, a 17 and 23. So you get 17 the first week. Get 2 points towards a proficiency, and advantage on the next. Would it be the next week? So you'd actually get advantage on the next roll.
Roll again.
Would we say that
No.
Gertrude is helping him with his floristry, so that's the point that she gets.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. He would gratefully receive that help, especially because he's trying to tailor it for Blossom. So he'd be like, "Please help me with what she might like."
Yeah, and on the 23 you get 2 more points, advantage on the next week's one as well, and you may accept 1 hobby skill point for another character who is training for free.
Tradesies, Gertrude.
You.
Sweet.
She'd just be like, just put 1 of every colour in. And some big ones.
So 4 points for floristry and 1 point for preserves. He'd be like, oh, kind of like a firework.
Yes, exactly.
So, during this time of this 2 weeks, you would start to put feelers out there for hiring for the staff that you asked for, and you'd start to get a number of candidates. However, you end up settling on 3. So we'll roleplay out the sort of acceptance of you doing them. So if you'd all like to gather around the table with Poppy Montague. And she's sitting round, and I will remind you that Poppy Montague's her food tasted absolutely fucking amazing. 12 out of 12 is the rating you all decided to give her. You would know that her traits, that she essentially believes that anything is worth doing right. She can't help it. She's a perfectionist. And she always wants to know how things work and what makes people tick. So she asks a lot of questions back at you during the interview. She's like, so tell me about yourselves. I would like to know so much about you. I'm such a good... I love to know everything about the people I'm working for.
Well, I like spiders, and I have my mom, I have my other mom, I have my other mom, I have my other mom, I have my brother, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, they're so lovely. It's lovely to learn about people. I love meeting people. It's just such a wonderful thing. Almost love it as much as cooking.
Cookie. As long as you can cook draft noodle, then I'm happy.
Oh, I certainly can, my dear. You just ask, and as long as you provide me with the ingredients, then I'm more than willing to.
Where did you learn to cook, Poppy?
Oh, my mum taught me originally. Originally, I'm from...
Let's quickly look at the map.
I'm originally from Allfield. Quite a lovely town. More of a stopover kind of place, but mum loves it, so she's still there, in fact.
Yes, my mum and sister are back in Feldwin.
Oh, I've never been. Is it lovely as... I've heard it's quite a quaint little town. Quite lovely.
Well, yes, I like it, but I guess I wanted to see more of the world and more caves. She looks around.
Well, they say that, a place like Huppadook, it's full of industry and hard workers, and you need to fill hard-working bellies with lots of the food, so I thought there'd be many opportunities here to do such a thing, and this place is just quite amazing. I didn't expect to be working so far away from the city, but I have to admit, the smell of smog is quite off-putting in the city and doesn't particularly get in some of the flavours of my food so well, so I'm quite happy to be here.
Well, then it's settled. You can cook draft noodle, and I like draft noodle, and I like eating draft noodles, so...
Well, I'm very excited to be working with you.
How do you feel about cooking for sharks?
I can't say I've ever tackled that opportunity, but I'm willing to give it a go.
I heard they like beef Wellington.
Well, I'm sure I can cook one up for them.
What do sharks eat, Leon? Do they eat just people?
Raphael?
Anything meat-wise, they need to tear into the flesh of another being.
Oh, probably shouldn't tell the deer that.
The deer have been warned about the water.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, if
if everything's happy and everything's okay, then I'll get to work for you as soon as possible. I charge 5 silver a week. Is that all right? That's not including ingredients, though.
That's okay. If you start now, then I can have damp noodles, so I don't mind you starting now.
Well, Poppy, I was thinking when we have everyone hired, maybe we could all have dinner together one evening, if you don't mind cooking that for everyone and us.
Oh no, that would be splendid. Like I said, I love meeting people and meeting new people, and I'm sure the rest of the staff you hire and me will become fast friends.
Just so we can all get to know each other.
Yes, that sounds most agreeable. So, after that, you hold a second round of interviews for a bartending position for a person to keep your stocks, and not just a bartender, but also to sort of help out around the cave as well, and sort of restock supplies as well between the town and here. So, but when you're here, his primary job is to serve as a bartender. Batista Lambert comes in, a human man. Throughout his interview, you learn that he's got a strong sense of fair play and always tries to find the most equitable solution to arguments, and he believes that no one should get preferential treatment before the law and that no one is above the law. And you also know that, unfortunately, that he can't help but tell you about this new novel he's writing throughout. So he'd be like, well, yes, I believe that, there's a strong sense of fair play, and I like to, I love meeting people and serving people, but also, down in Old Huppadook, it's a bit rowdy for me, you see. But I was thinking of moving closer, maybe to Blade Garden, but with this war going on, you never know what's going to happen. And, with the dash and all the crime there with the Myriad, it's I've heard horrible stories, so I thought a place like Huppadook would be just for me. And, that's why I think a place like this is just perfect for me.
That's how we're on a huge mountain as well.
Exactly, I love the fresh air of the mountain. Really suits my active lifestyle. Because, my new novel I'm writing, How to Make Money in Your Spare Time, I have to come up with lots of different ways of thinking for people how to make money in their spare time. So, things like travelling the mountains, finding herbs. Lots of people need herbs to adventurers and needing potions, so,
Well, that's pretty good. I only have one question for you, Mr. Man. That is, do you like Bucks Fizz?
I love Bucks Fizz, mate. It's a classic drink, and yeah, it's just a merry, you just can't get enough of it, really. Personally, you know how it is. Every single year, down, in the Embertide and end of the year, the harvest close, really at every holiday of the year should be a Bucks Fizz holiday, as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
She looks over at Fury and Gertrude. Yeah, I like this one.
I think their tagline, Bucks Fizz, I'm loving it, really sums up the nature of Bucks Fizz.
Exactly, I think it is quite a delicious drink.
I don't know what any of you are speaking of.
You saw us drink it the other day, Furion.
I don't tend to watch you drink anything.
Well, you should. It's all fizzy and delicious, and I'll get you some next time, Furion. Don't worry. It's very important you have to taste the Bucks Fizz.
It's not quite as good as Radler, but it is amazing.
Well, I apparently, in my book that I like to write in my spare time, How to Make Money in Your Spare Time, I say that a good way of making money in your spare time is to collect oranges from the nearby growing trees and sell them to the producers of Bucks Fizz. And that way, you're getting money straight from the bossman.
Well, that is clever, and it means that you're also helping the Box Fizz to make more Box Fizz, and that's just
Exactly.
A good
If
thing in
you're
general.
a bartender like myself, then you're benefiting off doing this thing in your spare time, collecting origins, and then giving it to the people who make Bucks Fizz, and then you're selling the Bucks Fizz for them, making money all in the process. It's all going in your pockets, you see.
Oh, that's a good idea. Oh my god, this guy's clever too, Gertrude.
Gertrude like side eyes to Firion. He's like, yeah, yes, very clever. How long is your book going to be, Batista?
Well, I know, I was thinking that it would be just an ongoing book, really. There wouldn't ever be official release date until, maybe until I die, even. But one day I like to think that the people of Wildemount would be able to look down and say, look, this Lambert fella, he's really got his mind together, and he's really gonna bring in a new economic, age of prosperity. It's going to bring us back to something like the age of Arcanum, We'll have everyone will have a flying ship, and it will be fantastic.
I see. It's an economic treatise then. Okay. Well, I assume you also have access to like vice beer, sours, that kind of thing.
Of course, yes, I've got a lot of connections, you see. Having worked as a bartender and worked as an innkeeper for a short time, I've got a lot of connections throughout Wildemount. I've got a lot of connections in Zadash who can bring out all sorts of different booze, whatever you're looking for. More than happy to fulfill the supply and demand, really.
I definitely demand some Box Fizz every now and then, so I think we could.
Well, like I said, like I write in my new novel, How to Make Money in Your Spare Time, I think it's very good to focus on supply and demand, really, because the more you focus on supply and demand, the more it's just lining your pockets at the end of the day. If you've got an understanding of where the products come from, then you understand where the money is made.
Oh, I didn't understand any of that, Gertrude, but it sounds clever.
Yes. Thank you, Batista.
You're most welcome, dear. Most welcome.
Are there any alcoholic drinks you particularly fancy, Firion?
I've been partial to Spitten in the past. But really, I want to know if I asked you to bring fresh water at a large supply on a regular basis to the cave, would that be
Of course, like I said, I've got official contacts, and you've got nothing to worry about with me. Some of these other bartenders, they like to slip underneath the table. I think there's nothing better than a lawman. My father was a lawman, and he thought, the Crown's guy, they don't get enough respect, really. You see these righteous brand, and I got a lot of respect for the righteous brand doing what they do and going out west to fight this war. But it takes away, when you're wearing all this shiny armour, it takes away from the standard Crown's guard, you see. So, really, I've got a lot of respect for them, and I go for official channels, and I pay my taxes like I'm a good upstanding member of the Empire. And like I said, I will provide you with this water, no problem, but through official channels and it on time, and I will show you, like it says in my book, how to make money in your spare time. It just really, you come together and you put a plan together, and you can do things officially by the law without having to cheat the system.
I think that was a yes, Firion.
Yeah, Firion's frowning slightly, and even he looks to Gertrude and is like, did he answer my question?
Yeah. Yes. So you can get water then?
I can indeed,
Okay.
yes, and through official channels, like I said.
Perfect.
Well, it looks like we've got a fruitful relationship on our hands. Kind of holds out his hand.
Can you home make Box Fizz?
Well, I never tried it, but I could certainly give it a go. Just like in my book, How to Make Money in Your Spare Time. Really, you've got to really focus on what you can do and try new things, so I'd be willing to give it a go.
I would like to try a blackberry box fizz version.
Well, I'm sure I'll be willing to give it a go. Let me just write that down in my notes. To make a blackberry box fizz for Miss Blossom, was it?
Yeah.
Well, Batista, I'm sure you'll learn a lot here, and you have a lot of entries for your book. So.
Well, I'm very excited, and have to say that when it's all done, I'll make sure to put a mention of all of you in there who, helped me get my first steps upon the way, if you know what I mean.
Oh, it's okay. You can take... It's your book. You take full responsibility for it.
Well, if you say so.
I'm real excited about this blackberry box fizz.
Well, I'm sure I'll try and get it ready for you within the week.
Okay.
Perhaps you should regularly check in on him, Blossom.
Oh, I should, because then I'll know for sure when you got it.
That's a smart thinking on you there, girl. That's like I said in my book, How to Make Money in Your Spare Time. You have to have a smart head on you, you see. You have to really be thinking about these things.
You call me smart. That's pretty good. Not been called smart before.
Well, the first time for everything, girl, and I like to give my compliments when they're due.
Oh, compliments? That's a new word I don't know. That's pretty good. Thanks, Mr. Man.
You're most welcome, dear.
Oh, Blossom, you're very pragmatic, so that's good.
I don't know what pragmatic is, but it sounds clever and good, so thanks.
Well, I better get on to work then on this blackberry box fizz, and we'll have to really try some new techniques, as it were. So wish me luck.
Oh, good luck, Mr. Man.
Good luck.
Best of luck.
He heads off. I'm going to roll for him now to see how well he does on this blackberry box fizz.
Oh, we rolled past the one.
Let me just check what his modifier is. It's based on his score. It's 8 out of 12, so he actually has a +2 modifier to that. So it is 15, so actually, pretty damn good, Blossom. You're quite impressed.
It's delicious. A new brand takes hold.
No, and finally,
Philosophies.
your house, Carl, perhaps the most important member to hire for. You see this dark, feathered man come in and sit down at the table after all the interviews you've had. A man named Rick Aliak. You see he's wearing a very fancy suit over his feathers, and none of you are very familiar with seeing Aarakocras. They're usually very isolationist races. So it's quite unusual to see one. But being Huppadook is placed further up in the mountains, perhaps you think. Perhaps that's why, but seems to have integrated more into society. You would know that he tells you that he takes great pains to always look his best and follow the latest fashions, and that to him nothing is more important than the other members of his family. So he sits across with you, and he's like, "Well, I do look forward to serving you."
Blossom looks over to Ferion. It's like, Ferion, one of your birds got big.
No, you must understand, my dear. I am not of the bird ilk. I am of a race known as the Aarakocra. My family are all of this race, and we are quite a noble species. Usually my people do not, my kin do not venture far beyond our ancestral homelands, but I thought I would take on the challenge of seeing the world and trying to understand it, and I've really integrated myself in, wearing the finest clothes, the newest fashion, trying to be on the highest levels of nobility that a person like myself can.
Gertrude just looks down at her cloak, which is just covered in vinegar, soil, the red earth, and she's just like, yeah. And she tries to cover up, like brush off part of the stone on her.
I've never heard of an Akoka before. It's pretty cool. Can I see your wings, Mr. Akoka?
Do a persuasion check with disadvantage. It's Aarakocra, my dear, and I do apologise, but I do like to keep my wings within my suit. Other people seem to prefer it that way. They find it less threatening.
Well, I think they're cute, and I like birds, so...
I can assure you that the place that you call home, it is... I take it quite seriously in my work. Home is where the heart is, they say. Home is where family truly dwells, and I believe that such a place should be kept in the finest fashion. I'm willing to dust off each of these walls and make them look very presentable for any parties you wish to hold, or any guests that might attend, or simply just for your own pleasure.
Gertrude looks around. He's like, as he does that, she kind of like quick, like does their eyes, and then she looks back. Do any of you are you planning on having any visitors, Blossom or Firion?
Maybe eventually, but I think it'll take a long time to get here for my visitors.
I am only animals.
Well, I'm most capable of taking care of other animals. Back in my ancestral homeland, there are a number of animals kept, and I had the greatest respect for such creatures.
Firion nods at that and doesn't seem at all perturbed by the caca happening. Do you have any particular relation with jays, rooks, ravens, or is it wrong of me to even ask?
Our people do not have a particular relation. Quite the opposite, in fact. My people are often known as being the apex predators amongst the aviarian species, but I can assure you that shall not be an issue here. I have integrated myself into society, and I quite enjoy the delicacies that have been presented before me.
The position may require martial capabilities. From where does your capability come from?
Well, in my ancestral homeland, my tribe always required us to work with a quarterstaff. From a young age, I was very, very capable at doing so.
Well, and you can fly, Firion. That's just good in general.
Flying won't really do much in here, Blossom.
No, but they went outside against those griffins.
We should probably make you aware that there is a... She looks around to Blossom and Firion. A cavern which leads down, and we don't particularly know where it goes.
Oh yeah, Mr. Cocker, there's a scary cavern that you have to probably keep an eye on.
Very well. Quite unusual, but I'm more than willing to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I believe I'm most capable to watch over your home with the utmost care.
Yes. Well, I think you'll be a good fit.
Well, it's lovely to hear it.
I think so too. I think you're cute, and maybe you fly me somewhere one day.
That would be quite impossible. It is a struggle to fly at an Aarakocra's size as it is. We have to be quite careful about what we carry with us.
Oh, well, I guess you'd have to grow some muscles like me then, if she does the little muscle thing.
Indeed.
I think it's more to do with bone density, Blossom.
Bone density? You got dense bones? I don't know what dense means.
Well, I think Aarakocra have lighter bones,
Quite.
Light bones?
so they can fly.
Bones that aren't heavy, Blossom, not bones made of light.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense.
That would be quite impressive.
How would you know?
They don't exist, but they would look pretty, wouldn't they?
To whom?
To me.
Perhaps we should dismiss our guest.
I will get to work straight away. Thank you.
See you around, Mr. Cocker.
Kind of walks off, starts examining the walls.
You can ask him anything you want, Furian. We hired him.
What would you like to be called by?
Rick is fine.
Hear that, Blossom?
Okay, Mr. Ricker Cocker.
Rick.
At that, Farian gets up and starts walking up.
Okay, so you have a little bit more time. Is there anything specifically now you would like more to buy during this time that we don't need to roleplay out so much? I've got...
Well, after last session, I bought...
What was that?
Right.
Oh, is my internet being shit, or is it Hannah? It's probably my internet, because my internet is great. Hello?
Did I?
Howdy.
Sorry, my internet crapped out. What did you say, Hannah?
I was just saying, after last session, I already added 3 potions. So I took the gold out as well.
Mm-hmm. So you would have... I will say that any potions of healing currently are pretty in low supply because of the war.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is a local herbalist within Humperduke called... where is it? The Lay of the Land Herbalist, which is run by a female human who... in fact, we'll play this bit out because I think it might be interested if Firion would go, if Firion would go to the local herbalist or not.
If Blossom badgered him into doing so, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Gertrude would definitely say, maybe we definitely should go, seeing as we technically died.
Sure.
Yeah. We need lots of potions so we don't die again. That was pretty bad.
I don't think we'll get a second chance.
You're probably right, Gertrude.
On the upside, Blossom, we could have a funeral and celebrate it for ourselves.
That would be weird.
Not many people get to do it either.
Do I have to cry for myself?
Well, I guess you'd just remember yourself how you'd want to be remembered if you had died.
Oh, I remember myself as this amazing woman. She's on a horse, riding around with lots of sparklers.
Well, I guess you just need the horse.
You're right, Gertrude.
Ugh.
Dion, can I have a horse?
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
But ideally, me and you should get at least a pony. I mean, it's quite the trek up that mountain every time.
Well, that's true. I get tired every time. Pony might be delicious for a griffin, though, I will say that.
I thought you were just going to say pony would be delicious. I was like, yeah, true.
Okay, so navigating the winding streets of the Iron Lot, you find a wedge-shaped hutch of smoke-stained thatch and warped wood. A faded sign bearing the name Lay of the Land dangles above the door. And entering the shaded interior, you are greeted by all manner of smells, from pungent fungi to dried weeds to burning incense. And a woman turns towards you where she eats at a corner table, her smiling mouth half filled with food, her voluminous black hair framing her face. And she's like, hello. Excuse me, can I help?
We came to buy all the potions and all the stuff.
She kind of walks over and she's like, "Oh, of course. What sort of you look like? Whereabouts do you are you from? You don't see. I haven't seen you in here before. It looks like yeah. What sort of daily habits do you have?
Well, I'm from Blade Garden, and my mom's from Blade Garden. My other mom's from Blade Garden. Family. I also have lots of spiders and lots of sparklers.
Yes. You might be interested then, my dear, in acquiring some antitoxins. They can be quite nasty, a spider bite, I'm afraid. What about, how often do you wash, dear? How often do you wash?
Maybe like...
She kind of like kneels in front of you, Blossom, and is kind of like, looks like she's examining you, and kind of like sort of grabs your cheek for a second and kind of like wipes a bit, and then looks at her thumb to kind of check the dirt on there, and then kind of like licks it slightly, and is like, yeah, I'll be honest, dear, I think you could possibly think about personal hygiene a little bit more.
We do live in a cave, so...
That might explain it. I think you should definitely consider washing a little bit more regularly, but I do have a number of perfumes that might be able to help with that smell.
Perfumes? I've never been able to afford a perfume before. What is a perfume?
Well, a perfume, my dear, it's like a smelling... it helps you smell nicer.
Well,
Nicer?
it's a matter of opinion.
Well, I can assure you that all my perfumes are quite delicious smelling.
Nicer like a pony?
More nice like a set of a bouquet of flowers, dear.
Oh, that'd be pretty good then.
Yes, indeed. And what about you? Where are you from? You're quite a strange-looking an elf.
Further north. Is everything in this shop gathered from the local flora?
It is, my dear. I like to provide. Tell me about yourself. I like to know my customers. What do you get up to daily, dear?
I provide feed for the jays. I provide feed for the deer. I provide feed for the sharks.
Sharks, my dear. That's quite a dangerous animal if not handled carefully. You might want to think about perhaps getting a healer's kit.
I have no coin, but I could trade. And he holds out a little gem.
Firion, we said that we'd buy anything you needed.
Oh. What does it do?
Well, a healer's kit, my dear. You can... it's got all the necessary instruments to repair any wounds, anything along that sort of nature. I think if you're dealing with sharks, my dear, they're quite dangerous.
Is it mundane or magical?
It is mundane, my dear. There is no magic behind a healer's kit.
He looks at Gertrude, just kind of gives a very slight shrug.
How much is it?
5 gold pieces, my dear, for a healer's kit.
Yeah, she'd just hand it over.
And what about the perfume for you, dear? I do think you could do with... if you're living in a cave, then perhaps would you not like to smell nice for all the lovely friends you have over?
I don't really care about nice food. What about that? I can't remember anything about spiders being mean to me, but...
The antitoxin, dear. An antitoxin is quite important if you're dealing with spiders.
What does it do?
Well, anyone that drinks antitoxin is can help them get over the poison if they are poisoned at all by. And if you're dealing with spiders, then a poison can often be an issue.
Well, I guess I'll have one of them then. That sounds important.
Okay, that 50 gold pieces for the antitoxin, my dear.
Okay.
Do you have any healing potions, or has the war brought those away?
Well, I'm gonna. I would have said that because Blossom's already bought 3, so I'm including this 3 when I say this. But she's gonna say, "I'm afraid I do not have many, my dear. My stock is currently only. I'm able to produce some myself, but I have to acquire the materials myself. You see, and it is quite a lengthy process. I have to do it outside hours of the shop being open. So currently I only have about 5 each week."
Mm.
So
I'll have all of them.
She's got 2 more then.
Yeah, 2 more.
Gertrude to cough up the 100 and give 1 for Gertrude and 1 for... Well, 3 for Blossom, 1 for Gertrude, 1 for Firion.
Thank you, Duke.
Yeah.
Roger that. Virion's looking around the room for any sign of druidic.
Do a perception check for me. It's a very low DC.
So?
Yeah, you do spot a number of druidic focuses, Firion. Let me just quickly look at something. You see like a number, like a staff that's been drawn whole, like out of a living tree, and a small wand that's made of yew or some kind of other special wood. And you see like a sprig of mistletoe that sort of sits there.
Yeah, you definitely recognise these. You cater to practitioners of druidism.
I am one myself, dear.
Oh.
So I do like to promote the arts where possible. I think it's important for people like me to put our abilities to good use.
How have you found being here in amongst industry?
He kind of looks down, like to the floor slightly, and she's like, "It has been most difficult at times. I am not completely used to dealing with customers that come on a regular basis. However, I do have a few regulars."
Think. No, okay. Say. What is your name?
My name is Zendasa.
I'm Firion.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Firion.
With Hannah's message in chat, I almost feel like it's Blossom tugging on Firion's sleeve and being like, "I also got these." Well, what in Druidic, he would say, "What circle do you belong to?" If you belong to one.
Let me quickly check something. is it? It's in there somewhere. She kind of looks at you, surprised slightly, Firian, and she looks around at Blossom and Gertrude, kind of this odd trio entering her store. But she then replies and she says, "I am of the land, my dear." And she whispers it in Druidic back at you.
Yeah, he has like a slow nod of respect, and he says, "I wouldn't wish." This isn't in Druidic. He switches back to Common and says, "I wouldn't wish to trade coin for such sacred items. Could I perhaps interest you in this?" And he holds up an opal, which he got from their adventures before.
She takes it in her hand, turns it over, and sort of rubs it slightly. "I think I could make use of this."
Perhaps just the mistletoe.
"Very well." And she hands over the mistletoe in exchange for the opal.
Excellent.
When Virion was talking to her in Druidic, Gertrude would have said in Halfling to Blossom, he's quite the ladies' man, isn't he?
Yeah, and she'd reply, "Yeah, I know, and with that language as well, I want to know what it is."
Would Gertrude know? Would she recognize, not know it, but would she?
Yeah, do an intelligence check for me. I'm going to put it at fairly high DC because it's not something that's easy. At 22, yeah, I think you would know.
Yeah.
Based off the fact that you've seen Firion's magic and you've read about druids, you certainly would know.
If she's saying halfling, she'd be like, "I think it's Druidic."
Oh, it's pretty.
I think that's how he talks to his animals.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Don't know how hard to learn it is.
I don't know, but if it can help me talk to animals, I definitely want to learn it.
You'd have to ask him, Blossom. I have no idea how they learn it.
Oh, I will ask him as soon as he's... She goes and walks over to him and tugs on him while he's talking.
Yeah, he'd finished talking to Zendasa and thank her.
She would sort of bow her head towards you and... "No, thank you."
I'll likely visit again.
"I look forward to it."
And then, yeah, he'd turn around to Blossom.
What is that language, Fiona? It's so pretty, and apparently Gertrude said it helps you talk to animals. I want to talk to animals. Maybe you'll teach it to me sometime, and then we can all talk to the animals all together, and it carries on.
When we get back to the cave, I'll introduce you properly.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to buy during this time, or is there anything else? Don't have to roleplay out every single one of them, but I thought that character could be interesting for Firion, so
that was cool. Yeah, thank you.
Gertrude would only want. She'd want to get a pony, depending how much a pony costs.
Okay, let me quickly have a look because I've got a big list now.
Gotta get a donkey. Donkey's way better.
Alright,
Oh, actually, that's really true. Or a donkey, yeah. Or an ass or a mule. Either one.
Oh, we're going to the pony shop. Blossom's going to be like, "Oh my god, they're all so cute!"
So, there wouldn't be a pony shop. And especially in a place like Huppadook, there would not be anywhere that sells horses, per se. There would be a stables that has places where they keep people's horses that come through. Huppadook is not the kind of town that would. However, you would possibly be able to place an order for one at a stables, and they could send off a request to a city like Zadash, where you most certainly would be able to get a pony or a horse. I would say a pony, like, sell for cost about 30 gold pieces. But with the delivery on top of that, I'd say they'd probably knock it up to at least 50 gold pieces.
Funk
Yeah.
me, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
cheap.
Blossom wants 2 ponies.
Okay, you get 2 ponies for about 100 gold pieces, I'd say, in total.
Oh my god, I can't wait for my pony.
You would have to feed it as well, which would require you to spend probably at least, with the specific food they need of, like, sort of the hay and stuff coming from, it would probably at least cost you about 5 gold a week, I'd say.
That's why we're rich now. And if we don't have enough one week, then we just we sell the akoko.
Get a reskinned donkey as a meal.
I would say you'd be able to get a donkey for about the same price, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you get a donkey.
Yeah, it would probably take about a month to get here, though. So it will probably arrive on... Let me quickly just check.
What did you say it was? Am I taking out 100 for 2?
100 for 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Quickly check the calendar. The current date is the 28th, so it's 29 days into Fesseran. So... 29. So it would be the first. So it would probably be about the 27th of Quenpilla. How you pronounce that? But
That's before they have to leave for the Hazel Festival, right?
be after.
Oh, how long after?
Probably about 2 weeks after.
Oh, fuck. Oh, well. No. She'll just want it at the house anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, still getting it because it's like
It would
still.
sorry, it'd be about 2 weeks after the Hazel Festival. So,
Oh, right.
So it
No,
would
that's
be
fine.
yeah. So the Hazel Festival's on the 10th, and it would be on like basically the last day of that month. They would probably arrive here by.
Okay.
Yeah, still, and Poppy and that can use it anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say
Good.
on the
Gertrude would be like, what are you going to call your horses, your ponies, Blossom?
I don't know, Gertrude. That's a good question. We'll have to think about it.
Could ask them what they prefer to be.
Oh, yeah, you could.
That's a good point. I was hoping they'd have some, so you could ask them if they wanted to come with us, Firion.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Well, if they're unhappy in their servitude, we can always set them free.
That's true.
I'm also going to. I've been making notes myself, but I am going to add a thing called group notes in for all of you, which I believe is under an adventure in Wildemount. It's called session notes, and there's a just list of stuff that. Feel free to add anything if you think it might be relevant. So you can edit that if you want to.
Awesome.
So, as the sort of 2 weeks of downtime comes to a close, is there anything else you want to do before we sort of end this downtime period and sort of pick up?
Whenever Firion travels to or from Huppaduk with Blossom or Gertrude, he would offer to carry them as a horse.
Yeah, Blossom's hell yeah.
Which, yeah, I could imagine. That's why I felt like mentioning it, because I imagine Blossom would have an extreme reaction to that.
Oh my god, Theo, you could turn into a horse as well. This is amazing. She goes to grab some sparklers so she can do her dream.
You'd allow it.
One more thing that as the gnome workers finish up some of their work, they've still got plenty of work to do. It's going to take them probably 2 months to finish everything in here, but most of the basics have been put in. they would tell you that one of them would come up to you, Gertrude, and be like,
all right, love. I've managed to get mine enough into seeing these tubes they put all around here, and I've managed to stick one up on the front door, so anyone who comes up here will be able to speak into it, and you'll be able to hear anything throughout the cavern.
Oh, well, that's very useful. But when she thinks to Blossom, and she's like, is there a way to turn it off in certain sections?
I can have a look into it. Currently, no. It all seems to be attached to the same system. Probably going to take a little bit of extra time if that's something you would like me to do.
Well, it just feels like it could be abused. Thanks to Blossom.
It would cost a little bit of extra gold to hire us for an extra 2 weeks, I'm afraid.
How much would it cost for 2 weeks?
Currently, we're working for you for a month, and it's cost you 1,000 gold, so an extra 2 weeks would be a little extra 500 gold.
Oh. Gertrude's just like...
Just don't tell Blossom. Just don't tell Blossom it exists.
Okay, well, I'm not sure we can afford that, so...
No problem. Well, it's there if you want it. Alternatively, you could try and plug the things up, I suppose.
I have a better idea, so...
Very well. Well, it's there if you need it.
Can you... She leans over to him. Can you please not tell my red-headed friend about it?
do a persuasion check.
Oh, it's going to nat one, isn't it? And he's going to be like, I'm telling her now!
Sure, I guess.
She's very excitable and... Yeah, she might... You can imagine.
Yes, no problem. I won't mention it to her then.
Right, I just need to quickly go to the toilet, so I'll be right back. Then we can resume.
I need you to.
Cool.
We've got food over there.
And then Firion was left alone with Blossom.
I think Blossom should have done hobby number 75.
What is hobby number 35?
Training bumblebees to fly tethered to a thread.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Maybe she'll develop that one over time.
Yeah, I think Firion would come and talk to the spiders at some point, just to get a feel for if she's abusing them.
No, she's not. She's just hanging out, you know? She's like, there's this really nice little corner. It's right here. I'll put you there and you can stay there if you want, but you should probably stay there because it's a really good corner.
Would she try and feed them? Would she, like, catch flies or whatever? Or bugs?
Oh, yeah. Whenever she sees a little woodlouse or something, you know, crawling along, give
Chuck
it to
it
her.
in the web.
Yeah.
Love the phrasing of the Circle of the Shepherd thing. So
Yeah.
It says, blah blah blah. Beasts can understand your speech, and you gain the ability to decipher their noises and motions. Most beasts lack the intelligence to convey or understand sophisticated concepts, but a friendly beast could relay what it has seen or heard in the recent past. Blah 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 blah. But the bit I like is the decipher their noises and motions. I love the idea of like the gang running along down a tunnel, and there's like a split in the tunnel. They're chasing someone, and then Firion turns to like a little spider in the corner. It's like, which way did they go? And the little spider's arms are like pointing one way, just like
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that to happen now. We have to do a perception check. Look, I see a spider somewhere.
Yeah. I will be doing that constantly. I've got no idea what we're gonna do.
No, I don't know. Are we going to go down in the little tunnel? Is there something else in Hubbadoot we're doing?
Tunnel feels super dangerous.
I imagine there's going to be a lead that comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I heard you save the city! It's like, yeah, good.
All right, I am back.
It's going to be Mumphrey. He's like, "Our cave now."
Yeah, my cave.
Right.
I want to see Mumphrey fall into the shark pit and just kill all the sharks.
Dinner.
Gets the mouth of a shark and starts eating them. Right, so as the 2 weeks come to an end, make sure you've.
Sorry.
Go on.
I want to do two things. We don't have to roleplay them, but
Yeah.
Firion wants to do two things. One is he wants to, when Blossom isn't in her room, he wants to sneak in and talk to the spiders and ask them if they're okay under Blossom's rule.
Yeah, sure. Do a stealth check for me to just see how successfully you sneak in.
Oh.
Yeah, like a silent as the night as Blossom is off, perhaps talking to Batista about his book, or maybe trying out Poppy's cooking. You manage to slip into her room and talk to some of the spiders, and he would sort of reply back to you and just be like, "We're fine."
Okay. That's all he needs to hear.
You don't really get like a sense of them talking back to you. It's more like a sense, because they're not spiders. Aren't
Yeah.
particularly smart, but you get the sense that they're okay.
Good. That's all. Count.
Oh, there's one thing Gertrude would have put in her letter.
Mm-hmm.
If she would say to her sister, Hedwig.
Okie doke.
That's the big bad. I can feel it now.
If she's going to come to the Hazel Festival as well.
Asks if her sister Hedwig is going to the Hazel. Is that a separate letter from the Cobalt Soul one, I assume? Or
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah.
the one she's writing with.
yes,
She was writing one, with Blossom to her parents. Well, she's helping Blossom. I'll tell you about Hedwig later on.
Okay. Awesome. Right, that is done. So is everyone else done? And we can mean.
I've now thought of another thing.
Yeah,
so I
go
now
ahead.
have
Honestly, it's fine.
Two things again, both involving Blossom.
Mm-hmm.
One, he would, when he did his good rolls for his floristry, he would have left these lovely bouquets like in her room, but he wouldn't have like waited for her. He probably would have just left it like leaning against her door. And then the other thing would be, because he said he would, and he's a man of his word, he would probably over a few days try and build up one of the deer. He'd try and find like the most young, enthusiastic, curious-seeming deer, and try and like reassure it and tell it that it's going to meet Blossom, and then he would bring Blossom over and try and tell her like, most communication is body language, so you have to show that you are non-threatening and that you're calm. So the grasping hands need to stop, and a big smile is actually a threat to these animals, so you need to keep your face neutral.
Okay.
And then, he would struggle to help her do that.
Can you both make both a persuasion check and then both an animal handling check for me, please? I've got a DC in mind. It's going to be the total of these scores. God, they're good rolls. So 19. Yeah, so with your combined efforts of Firion, you showing how and you reassuring the deer, you manage to calm it enough to where you can show Blossom how to properly interact with it, and you show him how to like pet them and feed them.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really fun, Fionn.
Stay quiet. Just take in the moment.
She's getting really excited.
Yeah, he could see Blossom like like a steam pressure thing that needs to be lit off, and then and then breaks the contact and is like, "That's enough for now," and takes her over to the shark tank and is like, Whenever you feel like you want to talk to the animals, you can just talk to the sharks. They'll listen.
As soon as like they leave the little area, she's like, "Oh, that was so cute."
As you do, Firian, like some of the gnome workers that are there just like turn to you with this like annoyed expression on their face. It's like, really, dude? It's like,
Unfortunately for them, Firian doesn't give a shit.
yeah.
We'll turn around and go back and thank the deer and then settle in.
Okay.
Yeah. And she'd also see the, I assume, blossoming flowers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're made to look like a firework explosion, so it's all like outwards.
And again, she's like, "Oh my god!" Did she know that he's been growing them?
Probably, yeah. Especially because Gertrude's been helping him. I imagine they did it in like the common area.
So, oh my god, didn't realize he was going to give them to me. And then instead of going all the way over, she'll do a little message to him.
Ah, fuck! I was about to say,
Okay.
once he left them, he went back to his room and locked the door to avoid her coming to him. But yeah, message cantrip.
Yep. It's like, oh my god, thank you, Phil. They're so pretty. I'm going to sit them next to my fireworks, and they're going to be there all day, all week, every day. And they're going to be amazing. And yeah, she carries on.
You just wait out the suffering. And then eventually at the end of the message just be like, please give them water.
You would notice, Firian, that each time that... actually, no, never mind. I'm misunderstanding something. Never mind.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah.
Is that everything for everyone?
That is it from me.
Okie doke. So, 2 weeks pass. You'll obviously get a long rest, and you can also reset any short rest stuff you have as well. So make sure you've done that you've got all your short rest hit die.
Yep.
So, on the morning of the 28th of Fesseran, as this colder autumnal month comes to a close, you awaken, each of you in your rooms, to the sound of a voice echoing throughout the chamber. Hello? Anyone in there? Hello?
Can it? Have we still got tubes in our room that we can reply with?
You certainly could, yeah.
Oh no.
Hey. Blossom will grab the mic thing. She's like, hey, who's this? Where are you? How are you on this voice thing?
I'm at the front door. There's some kind of speaking tube here. I assumed that I didn't want to go in that dark tunnel.
Oh, there's one at the front?
Well, that's how I'm speaking to you, yes.
She's going to dash over there. Doo-doo.
Gertrude's just in a chair like, oh god.
Therian's making his way to the front.
Okay. You make your way out to the front, Firian, and...
Yep. He'd greet the person.
You eventually come across a gnome crownsguard who is standing there, and you instantly recognise his uniform. And he says, "Oh, hello. I was talking to your friend on the quite nice, this old thing, this speaking tube."
Yes, wonderful.
Hello!
Oh, hello. I assume you're the lady I was speaking to.
Yeah, I didn't realise you was at the front door. I nearly went down there to Fion's house.
Oh, okay. Well, I better get to work. I've been here to send you a request from the Starosta.
The toaster?
No, the Starosta. You surely know what a Starosta is.
Do an intelligence check for me, Blossom. Let's see if Blossom would know.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think even Blossom would know what a Starosta is, and they're basically like equivalent of like city like elder, or like a sort of like a, if there was such a thing as like a prime minister within each city that kind of would act as that, I suppose.
Just a roster.
Yes, Starosta Emma Zesbok. She requests all of your attendance, if that's possible.
Well, I guess so. She looks at Furion.
We'll have to. Here she comes.
Oh, apologies. Something went down the wrong way.
Gertrude, this man told us we're being. Our presence is requested by the Starosta.
Oh, is it related to what we did before?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm afraid I've just been sent to summon you, essentially.
Okay.
I assume it's urgent.
If possible, yes. It is quite urgent. There's been it's been quite a tragedy within the city, I'm afraid. I'm assuming she wants to speak to you with regards to that. I'm not sure of the specifics of it, but yes.
She looks at Blossom Furion and she's like, well, I'm not really doing much right now, so I'm ready to go if you are.
Blossom
I think I could carry a gnome as well as 2 halflings upon my back. He turns into a horse.
It looks like we're going.
Oh, well, I'm sure
To the toaster!
getting back a bit quicker than I arrived. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Jumps on Furion.
Okie doke. So you make your way back towards Huppadook, and the grounds guard says,
You should probably go towards the Ironside barracks. That's where she stays at the moment.
let me quickly take you to the Huppadook map.
Oh. Back in Hupp.
So you would know.
It's so funny that they're just like bumming about the 2 weeks. It's so great.
It's lovely.
Because it's like Waterdeep, like 2 weeks is a long ass time. But
Yeah.
here,
Yeah. Right. So. So, you make your way down to the southwest side of Huppadook to the armor vault, which you can see as you approach acts as what appears to be a number of righteous brand soldiers walking around nearby. There seems to be a number of different crowns guard. It seems to act as a barracks, as the name holds. And the crowns guard on the back, he's like, well, I'll see you later. She's probably inside if you just ask for her. Better get back to work. And he kind of climbs down the horse Firion and heads off back towards the Ironlot Streets.
what's her name?
It's the Starosta, Emma Zesbok.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Firion turns back into Firion.
Okay, so you've got this impressive building in front of you, with high stone walls, with like sort of wooden supports throughout it, with bits of metal that are surrounding like the windows and any kind of like important structures such as the doors and stuff. A big set of sort of iron double doors that look quite formidable as you make your way in. And inside you see even more Righteous Brand soldiers rushing around. Some are readying their weapons. You see some training together. You see there's kind of a rush of activity as a couple of local citizens seem to be sort of chatting with some of the local Crown's Guard, reporting some kind of incident, from what you can tell. You see sort of a large sort of open chamber with a big set of stairs going up on either side, in like a fork shape beyond a desk that stands with a receptionist behind you. Seems quite busy with number of orders coming, like different people coming in, different Righteous Brand soldiers sort of walking past, and different Crown's Guard who kind of seem to be chatting with her. She seems quite overwhelmed in this room. There's a big chandelier that hangs in the centre of the room, and there's like really thick wooden panelling that surrounds much of this room. As you make your way in, there's a thick lush carpet of mosaic design that sort of leads your way straight up the receptionist's desk as you make your way down. It's quite warmly lit as well. And you see this receptionist like, yes, that's fine. Yeah, next please.
Steps forward.
Hello, how can I help?
We're here to see the lady. We're going to go through walls and...
You have to be more specific, dear. There's a lot of ladies around here. Anyone?
Gertrude was the name.
It's Kieran.
Gertrude's making tea.
Probably, yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, I wasn't pressing the button.
Oh.
She's like, Mr. Roster, she summoned us. We're from up the mountain.
Oh, very well. She's expecting you. Please head up the right stairs and head on the third floor down on the third door down on the left. On the corridor, you can't miss it.
Okay, thank you. And she starts going the other
Yes,
way.
next please, next please.
Varian grabs her by the collar and pulls her back the other way.
I knew that.
So
Doesn't comment.
you make your way up these stairs with these like burgundy carpet that's sort of been built into the stairs. It's quite a nice design as you sort of make your way up this forked stairs and back round and following around the wood paneling to a smaller corridor on the left with a big set of iron doors again on the end. And you come to it and the knock the clong, tung, clong, getting to there. And after a short moment you see a small gnomish woman with bright white blonde hair. I've dragged her token out so you can see what she looks like just in case you want to. And she looks up at you and she's like, so these are the ones Bram's been telling me about. Nice to meet you. And she sort of holds out her hand.
Nice to meet you, blonde lady that I just can't remember the name of, to be honest. Shakes her hand.
I'm the Starosta, dear. Emma says,
Yeah, that's that one.
Yes, do come in. And she invites you into the room. And you can see there's a large desk that's sort of full of different papers and there's ink wells, sort of quite a messy, unorganized desk. It's quite a bare room compared to sort of the sort of fine design of the rest of it. It seems quite the walls don't have the same wooden paneling. It's kind of just more the basic stone. There's a window that kind of overlooks much of the rest of Huppadook, you can see from this position. But otherwise it's fairly bare, and there's a roaring fire behind her with a quite nicely bricked fireplace. But she's got 3 seats ready for you there, and she kind of goes around to the back of the desk and sits down opposite you and sort of takes a sort of a deep breath and it's like, the Watchmaster, Bram Gulkswattle, recommended the 3 of you after your apparently fantastic work on stopping that madman Huron Stolmast.
Oh yeah, he was a baddie.
Yes, he certainly was powerful.
Yes, we, the reports were quite nasty. The ideas he had of using explosive mines to create a landslide in the city would have killed thousands of people. So we have you three to thank for that.
Well, I was thinking of asking something, seeing as we were given the cave.
She kind of looks, kind of lowers her eyebrows for a second, and then kind of is like, "Go on."
Well, there was a communication between the people. What was that empire called? No,
The Kryn dynasty.
They're planning to send Kryn dynasty warriors through the mountain, and there's a passage there. And I was just wondering if, or what, Hoppaduke was planning to do about it.
Well, I can assure you that we take it with the utmost seriousness, and we have informed the Empire. We have informed my superiors in Rexentrum, and they are sending a number of specialists to repair our defences. And they've already arrived. We are expecting, if anyone does come through, then Hoppaduke is more than ready. I can assure you. We have a number of specific devices planted around that will make the Kryn wish they had not come to Hoppaduke.
We just have to deal with them how we can as they tear through our house.
I do apologise. We have had quite a difficulty with the war, having enough soldiers to go around. However, I will send a number of my Crown's Guard to watch over the place in the meantime. Hopefully it should make it a little bit of a hub of activity for you. I can probably spare about 10 Crown's Guard to watch over the cave itself, but you do understand it is quite a distance from our fine little city here, so I have to make sure the protections are in. Here is the priority. But if there is a passage like you said, then I do take it quite seriously, and 10 Crown's Guard who are very well trained, I can assure you, should hopefully suffice.
Well, I was just worried about them proceeding with the same plan and collapsing the mountain on Hoppaduke, so...
It's alright, Gertrude. I'm sure the door will hold them. It's a pretty stiff door, if you ask me.
I do appreciate your concerns, dear, and I do take them very seriously. I can assure you, though, that the Cricks are a lot smarter than are quite smart amongst them. They are very strategical, and it's going to be, if they realise that their position is compromised, they are unlikely to pursue it, I imagine. But we can never be too sure, so I hope that 10 Crown's Guard will be sufficient.
As long as they leave my spiders alone.
10 strangers in our cave. Gertrude.
Oh no, Firion, but what happens if they sent a legion through the cave? We just get slaughtered.
I suppose.
I mean, probably the 10 will get slaughtered as well, so...
That's right.
Well...
Gertrude's just like thinking.
I guess
Perhaps just a small contingent and a swift rider to warn Hoppaduke if something does happen.
If that would be preferable, then I can provide you with a smaller number and one of our fastest riders.
Maybe just a big alarm bell in front of the door.
I'm not sure how much we could provide that. That's not really my area of expertise.
No, my mum used to use cans of empty tin cans in front of our door. That might work.
She kind of looks to you and kind of like looks to Gertrude and Firin like, really? Is she for real?
What was the alarm for, Blossom?
Oh, it's just in case some sneaky rats got in, and also there was that one time that there was a gnome. I think he was a homeless gnome, and he just walked in. He got in my bed and everything.
What? I can see why he had it then, Blossom. That's awful.
He was very important. Those tin cans, they stopped him doing it again because he was coming back that one time as well.
This is I'm afraid I do have limited time at the moment with the war going on. So as much as I enjoy this conversation, yes, exactly. So I should cut to the point. As you may have heard, I'm not sure how much you've how long you've been in the streets, but there was an incident last night. A number of people have been killed, unfortunately, and we believe that somebody was illegally transporting a rust monster within our fine city.
Oh, a rust monster. They must have left it outside. That's what happens to mail when you leave it outside.
Feel free to do nature checks to see if you know what a rust monster is.
Ooh!
Appropriate.
Gertrude definitely would.
As it should be.
Varian definitely would. Blossom, you would not. Let me just quickly get my thing up.
Hey, little awesome.
So you would both know that a rust monster is normally a docile creature that can corrode ferocious metals. They're like insectoid type creatures, and they are mostly feared by dwarves and anyone who would mine underground. They roam subterranean passages in search of ferrous metals, and they ignore creatures often not carrying such metals, but can become aggressive towards those bearing steel weapons and armour.
I can see why this would be so dangerous for a city of industry.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, this rust monster, whoever was smuggling it within our city, it has managed to break free, and it is now, as far as I'm aware, is now occupying the Silver Hall mines. Now, there's a number of reasons why, obviously, this is very damaging for us and the war effort. The Silver Hall mines are the key resource for where we gather any of our ores and metals to produce all the fine creations you have seen that help towards the war effort and drive the Empire to achieving their goal, our goal of defeating the Kryn dynasty.
Are you sure that it was an accident and not sabotage? It seems like the perfect thing to release in an armory.
Quite possibly. It would not surprise me, I'm not sure. However, if you may have heard in recent news, things are not going quite well in the war effort, and I'm under a lot of pressure. I have to send every single Righteous Brand soldier out towards both the Ashguard and Rockguard garrison from Hapatuk, which I am very pleased about. So, unfortunately, my time is very split right now.
Would Gertrude know that is the army like a professional army, or is it like a levied army?
What do you mean levied? I don't know what that...
Like called up from the population, like peasants and...
You would know that, like, the Crown's Guard is usually sort of people like often who are called up more. The Righteous Brand is the fucking best of the best.
Okay. Like the SS.
Yeah, but more like... more widespread than that. The Righteous Brand are a huge organisation, but they are like proper soldiers.
Prussian military.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. Yeah. So she says to you, I am very split right now. So the Watchmaster recommended all of you three. This is an issue that needs to be resolved quite promptly, but currently I do not have the men with the expertise to do so. My current lot of righteous brands you saw around the lobby are due to leave today. And if not, then I may have to commit too many men, and I do not want to risk my men dying and leaving the streets of Huppadook to the potential to be taken over by the scoundrels and thieves that you may have seen within the lower city.
Okay, I think we can do it. I mean, defeating some Ross doesn't sound too bad. You just, kick it, and it usually breaks off of whatever it's on.
I'm glad to hear that you're interested. The grisly deaths within the Ironlot streets are... We've not seen the rust monster itself so far, I have to say, but it's quite clearly the work of a rust monster based off the fact that any of the metals they were carrying were quite corroded. And as you suspected, it looks to you, Gertrude, I do believe that foul play may be at work here. Rust monsters very rarely come above ground. It is unlikely this rust monster has just come above ground to do some killing for sport. I think it's much more likely that someone has illegally transported this creature within the city, or perhaps has performed some kind of sabotage. Obviously, the reasons being quite obvious why.
And how would we be compensated for helping you, seeing as it's a dangerous mission? It's killed multiple people already.
You would be well compensated. There are two aspects to this mission, though, that you do not have to accept both, but there would be more gold if you were to. The first part of the mission is the more important, and is clearing the Silverhorn mines of these creatures. Apparently, according to the foreman, they have taken up complete residence inside and forced the workers to stay out. And they seem to be multiplying in numbers quite fast.
Wait a minute. How many? These people are leaving this much metal outside? Letting it get rained on? That seems to be irresponsible to me.
Have you seen the city, my dear? We are a city of industry. There is an awful lot of metal that is being produced all the time throughout the different aspects of the city.
Bit silly letting them all in turn into rust monsters, though, isn't it?
Firion nudges Gertrude.
Well, can we leave any metal objects here while we go about our business?
Of course, if that's what you want to do. I can offer you 500 gold pieces to clear the mine. I think after your demonstration, the Watchmaster has recommended that you should be more than capable for this mission, I hope. And I will be willing to offer a further 500 in part of the second part of this mission, and that is to find out how and who someone brought this monster into Huppadook and the evidence to support it.
Gertrude looks at Firion. She's like,
How do you feel about killing rust monsters? I mean,
If they're up here, it means they've been interfered with. I'd like to set the balance back into place.
okay.
Indeed, and, well, like I said, I've got a lot of responsibility with the war effort, but more importantly, we've also, well, not more importantly, but more immediately, we also have the Iron Runway event coming up within the next 2 days, and obviously we do not want to cancel this if we can, because the people of the city look forward to this annual event every year, and it is, I have been told by my superiors that this is an event that hopefully will inspire the masses to encourage our troops for the rest of the war effort. So we do not wish to have to cancel it. So this is quite a prompt issue, I'm afraid.
Sounds good to me. 500 gold to go pick up some rusty metal. That's pretty good.
So yes, and did you say it was only Well, I think it only creates ferrous metal, so we shouldn't worry about taking the coinage with us.
Indeed. I do not know though. If these rust monsters attacked people enough in the streets, then perhaps they feel threatened enough to act aggressive. So, I would prepare yourself for anything.
Blossom's confused. So, metal. What?
Blossom, it's a creature. It has claws, teeth.
It's like a creature that likes eating metal instead of plants or other animals.
Oh, that makes more sense. Why you're sad? Just pick up some little rusted stuff.
Just did say so.
It would be nice to be paid just to pick up 500 gold to pick up litter, but
Yeah, would actually. Mr. Lang.
I'm gonna have to restart my internet, guys. It's been really shit.
Okay.
No worries.
Mr. This is really so glad, but no.
Yeah, isn't that didn't cut out? It's just Lewis being out of it.
So interesting explaining high level monsters to monsters.
Yeah.
Right. Hello? Is that working now?
Yeah.
Hello, that one's working now.
But if it's made of all eyes, where does it poop from?
It breaks out its eyes.
Did you hear my question to the lady? Liz?
I did not know.
Like, oh, can we just pick up the rusted litter instead, Mr. Lady?
No, dear. As much as I'd love to pay everyone to pick up litter in this town, and perhaps the streets would be a little bit more clean, I'm afraid this is the mission as described.
Okay. Well, either way, I think we can do it. We're pretty clever and strong and leafy.
Yeah, well, the sparklers can accept this job.
Well, good to hear. If you wish to investigate the crime scene, I have a couple of men currently warding off the area close to the God, what's it fucking called? The Prayer Foundry. It's just slightly west on one of the Iron Lot streets there.
Alright. These
Gertrude's
must
been there.
better not eat my daggers.
Well, be prepared, my dear, because these things are quite dangerous. They can
I
eat
think
through metal
I mean-
like a dwarf can eat through a beef brisket.
that might mean I need to use one of your sticks, Furion.
I only have one stick.
You could do it in half, then we can both have half stick.
Oh, he looks horrified at that. I will not break my quarterstaff in twain
Well-
for your sake, Blossom.
Gertrude is like,
Well, if you want us to deal with the rust monsters, surely you should provide us with some weaponry which won't degrade, at least for the duration of the mission.
I'm willing to give you some of our swords and weaponry, but I do not particularly have anything apart from training swords. But I'm willing to give you some extra long swords, short swords, whatever you need in that regard.
Do they eat magic swords?
I do not have any magic swords, I'm afraid, no.
No, but I have one. Do they eat magic swords?
I do not know, to be honest with you.
Oh.
Perhaps.
Just make sure you have lots of spare daggers, Blossom.
Okay. Yeah. Or I could just have half a stick, you know?
He clutches his quarterstaff to him in a very prudish manner.
Okay. I guess I'll find my own stick.
So,
Use-
sorry, go on.
Just use your daggers. In much the same way as you would wear out a pair of shoes in time. Simply
that's
an
true,
accelerated process.
Okay, if you say so.
Gertrude's gonna take off her like little bronze circlet, which has some iron in, and put it like. Have you got a box?
I will keep it in my personal lockbox for you, dear.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can provide you with short swords, long swords, maces, anything like that. What would you prefer?
Daggers. Lots of
I
daggers.
can provide a number of daggers. How does 6 daggers sound?
Yeah, sounds good. I think 6 daggers would be pretty
Okay, 6 daggers for you. Anything else?
Her quarterstaff is wooden, right? I
Mhm.
always assumed it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Her fringe just falls in her face without the circlet on. She just blows it up, and she's like,
Ugh, I remember why I wore that.
good.
Varian is absolutely fine and very smug about it.
Okay then. Well, in that case, I wish you luck. Please keep me informed of everything that's going on.
She's still got the little box out.
Yeah, she would. Yeah.
She's gonna start filling it up with all of her metal crap.
Okay.
I got these ball bearings, I got this bell, I got these cow trips, I
She's
got
like-
this crowbar,
She's like, okay. I do have
I got this
somewhat limited
grappling
room.
hook, I got this hammer, I got these manacles, I got this
She's like
kitchen.
holding this heavy like chest. She's like puts it down on the floor. Like, just place anything you need in there, dear.
I got this small knife, I got this other thing, and I got this other thing as well.
Very well. I'll keep it all safe for you, my dear.
Thanks.
Right. Well, good luck and yes. Goodbye. She kind of sort of like awkwardly kind of shoos you away from the door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. And she waves her.
Goodbye. So
Well,
you head back out of the. They would bring you Blossom before you leave for 6 daggers.
oh, she holds them like Wolverine again.
And you make your way out of the Ironside barracks. So you can either go to the Silverhall mines, which you would probably all know by this point. Down here,
A sneeze.
and then the
Oh, sorry.
Prayer Foundry is in the centre. So
Oh.
the crime scene is currently sort of down here in this street. Where I've circled it. Oh, I put it on the GM layer. Whoops. Just move that down. So that's sort of
Prayer
there.
Foundry sounds like such a fucking scam.
It does, doesn't it?
Come on down to the Prayer Factory where all your worries will be disappeared with lots of money.
You can get 5 indulgences for the price of 2! We've
It's
got,
just prayers.
we've got 5 monks on hand, all hours of the day, ready to repent for you! I need to make
Yeah.
that more deep now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Come on down to
Well-
Zuckerberg's dialysis.
Oh god.
Well,
Eh.
perhaps this is our purpose.
Yeah. To defeat Rust.
Rust monsters, Boston.
Oh yeah, Rust monsters.
No, they are a natural creature. It's inevitable with man's urge to draw metal from the living earth that something would evolve to take advantage.
Well, I don't know, I guess so.
Well, it's kind of nice that they eat inorganic matter instead of anything living. I don't know. There's no pain involved.
Are we gonna go get them now, or we go to this other place, they said?
Varian is looking to the other two to direct.
Well, maybe we should go find the rust monsters, and there'll be something pertinent on them that leads us to whoever or whatever brought them to the city.
So what 3 places were there again? There's a crime scene.
It's a crime scene that you could follow, perhaps to see where. She's asked you to clear the mines of any rust monsters, and she also said that she would pay you another 500 gold pieces to find out how they got into the city and who did it. So she said, and then she just said the crime scene is there if you want to inspect it, but you have to find out your own way of finding it. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we should go to the mine first, because if we get rid of the rust monsters, then they'll be able to have their little flying thing or whatever it is.
Well, we could, but what about the crime scene? Wouldn't that go away?
So yeah, that's a good point, Blossom. Yeah, let's go to the crime scene.
Okay.
Okay. So you make your way up through the Iron Lot streets. And as you do, you spot the site that you haven't seen in Huppadook so far, but Blossom and Gertrude, you'd be very familiar with this in both Felderwin and definitely more so in Blade Garden. And you see a man with a bell, a pointed hat and a red coat, and what you think, oh, it looks like a town crier. But quite unusually with this particular town crier, he's riding this tiny little tricycle with a huge horn strapped to the back, and he's kind of like pedaling it, and he occasionally sort of stops and then goes really using his voice, and he sort of breathes in, and he's like starts speaking into this tube which echoes his voice throughout the sort of local neighborhood. And he's like, hear ye, the latest news from the war effort. And he's like, and he carries on, he's like, Kryn stage another cowardly attack on the Rockguard garrison, killing over 80 righteous brand soldiers. And since then, more cowardly attacks as they have surprised the dynasty warriors, the righteous brand, and with their cowardliness, and with an underground attack on Talonstad. 30 people killed and more captured. Hear ye.
Gertrude just looks at Blossom and Firion. She's like, underground attack.
Maybe, but just I assume that's quite. Seeing as we know, that close.
It is. I will show you on the map if you want. It is very close. Let's go. Let me just check it's the right one. Yeah, this one I'll do. Let me just quickly turn off the dynamic lighting thingy, the legacy lighting. Huppadook is here. The Rockguard garrison is here. Blade Garden is here. The Ashguard garrison is here. And Talonstad is down here. So it's fair.
Oh shit!
It's still far from Huppadook, but it is very. The Ashguard garrison, you would know. I think all of you would know. The Ashguard garrison was basically the first, like, the big kickoff of the war, where the Kryn attacked and they killed like 1,000 soldiers. And then, based off what he said, the Kryn diverted their troops to the Rockguard garrison, killed more people there, and then with their troops split between the two, as the Starosta told you, having to send loads of righteous brand soldiers out, the Kryn have now staged another attack on Talonstad.
Damn.
That's really close to Blade Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Felderwin would be down here, just for reference. So, Talonstad is not that far away from Felderwin either.
Cheap.
So, I'll move you back to the Epic map.
That underground passage really concerns me. Live right on top of it.
I'm pretty worried about my family in Blade Garden.
Yeah, that's why I was hoping my sister was going to come to the Hazel Festival.
Maybe I should send my family another letter say to come to our house.
I think it would be safer for them, Blossom. Well,
Maybe, but then there's the tunnel.
Farian gives Gertrude a sharp look.
About what?
About her saying you should bring Blossom's family to the cave.
Oh, right. Well, Gertrude doesn't know what they're like. Well, she might have an idea, but she just doesn't. No, she rather.
It's the nice thing to say, yeah. But Farian's like, "Grrr."
And so this is what this. It's a little town for man.
No.
And Firion would say, "Doesn't seem like your empire's doing very well. That the empire's doing very well."
No, Penny doesn't seem to be, no. But it's okay, because we'll get them in the end, you know. There's tiny little setbacks, like you know, my mum says, you know, sometimes you fall over, but you get back up again.
And you ring your tin can alarm. And
Exactly.
Will be okay.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't be bad.
I meant to ask you about that story, Blossom. What happened to the man? It's quite terrifying.
What man?
He walked into your bed.
Oh yeah. Well, we just kicked him out, you know, and then he came back the next night. That's why we put the tin cans there.
What happened to him after that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he joined the. I don't know. I'd probably homeless still, you know. Maybe he's dead, you know. He did have this weird green stuff on his arm. That one, you know.
Old Garden does sound a lot different to Felderwin.
Yeah, Blade Garden is full of people training for the military and stuff. So it's, you know, most resources and stuff go to them.
I might bring my family here. It's so close to the front line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason why I'm on a little venture is so I can get money to move my family out of the Blade Garden, because it is so close, but I mean, I don't know, I don't think I got enough yet.
You see the town crier starts ringing the bell again, and it like blows into the horn again, and he's like, you just as he rides on a little bit further in his little tricycle, and he's like, Crown Marshal Hayden Darrag orders all righteous brand troops from nearby cities to attend the Rockguard and Ashguard garrison to hold back the cowardly and evil Kryn. And he just keeps like ringing his little bell, like, hey, yay, yay.
I'd like the rust monster to get to that thing.
That's mean, Farron. I mean, he's got a good, cute voice.
The man is fine. The device is diabolical.
Oh. Okay. Are we going to go to the thing then, or?
Let's go.
You just see him cycle a little bit further, ring the bell again, like blow into the horn again, and he's like, crime at an all-time high in Zadash!
Myriad! Suppose of this crime syndicate, the Myriad is on the move again! Illicit goods in and out of the Dwendalian Empire! We gotta stop them!
Yeah. We'll stop him, Mr. Man, she calls out to him.
Yeah, we will. We'll stop them.
We will, they're gonna go down. They're bodies.
I like your attitude. Yeah, we'll stop them.
Yeah, we will. I like your horn thing.
Thank you, I made it myself.
Oh, you make me one?
Maybe. I'm quite busy with my new job.
Okay, but... Okay.
Blossom, we've got a job to do too.
Oh, we do, yeah, we do. Let's go.
So,
Bye, Mr. Man.
Goodbye. Hey ye.
Hear you.
he keeps cycling throughout the streets. Did you hear him? So, you make your way up to the crime scene quickly. Just the music slightly. So as you do, you make your way up the otherwise quite quiet Iron Lot streets. As most people are at work this time, you hear you see people at work and in the various different sort of locales throughout these streets, and many hammering metals and some merchants sort of selling their goods on the sides of the streets, calling out to you. But you make your way past them and make your way up to a section of street that's been cornered off by 2 Crowns Guard that are currently sort of standing there watching. And as you make your way up, they're like, sorry, this is off limits at the moment.
Off limits to the Hopperduke officers, and she points to the badge that I assume is still on her.
Oh, did the Starosta send you? She said she might send some people along.
Yeah, Toaster sent us. We're allowed in, I think.
Okay, just try not to touch anything. They're trying to keep the evidence clear for any investigators for the next day before we intern them. I know it's harsh, but the Starosta wants whoever's responsible for this apprehended.
She paid us to investigate, so...
Yeah, Pinky promised we're not going to touch anything.
Okay, well, just go ahead. It's fine. So you make your way up and you see throughout the street. They tried the best to sort of push people back to the edge of the street, but right down, sort of going down these alleys, it seems that there's a long stretch after maybe about 100 more meters of walking that you come to where you just see sort of blood start to seep on the road, like sort of dried blood on the road surface, and then you see a number of bodies, at least 5, that have some nasty burn injuries along them, from what you can tell at this distance. But
I think before Blossom sees the blood, she accidentally steps in it, a little bit of it.
Oh.
yeah, it's kind of like sticky and sticks to your shoe slightly, and it's quite disgusting.
Oh no! Something bad happened.
Let's see if Rust Monster was feeding on the blood, because it does have ferrous metal in, albeit a small amount.
You want to see if it would? Okay, do me a medicine check. Got a DC in mind. 10. Hard to tell. It doesn't look like any of the blood's been like absorbed up, but you're not 100% certain. The most of it's quite dried and sort of scarring the floor. It looks like more of the injuries that, from what you can tell, more like burn injuries that have kind of maybe like sort of incisor kind of injuries occasionally from like a but you're not 100% sure if it's been feeding on blood or not.
Blossom's looking around for rusty tin cans.
Okay, I'm not going to make you roll for that because
So, are there any bodies about?
there's 5 bodies. You see 3 humans and what appears to be 2 gnomes.
Okay.
Do they look like? Sorry, go ahead, Kieran.
I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to think of it as I said it.
I know that's teaching. You'd be a good teacher. Firion, all I wanted to ask was, do they just look like civilians, or are they wearing uniforms, or?
They look like they're civilians, from far as you can tell. They're quite spread out down the course of the street, which is probably about sort of at least 500 feet long, maybe.
Damn! So it looks like a rampage through kind of thing.
Yeah, but they're spread out though, so it's like it's maybe run down the street and it's killed a number of people in the process, if that makes sense.
Does Blossom find any rusty tin cans?
You might find like one on the side of the road, yeah.
She'll pick it up. She's like, this is probably what they were looking for.
Well done, Blossom. Maybe you could have a look at some of the bodies.
Okay. Just gonna go stare at one of them.
What are you looking for?
What am I looking for, Gertrude?
I'm not really sure what we'll get out of this, but maybe.
She's going to look around, see if she sees any sort of tracks from the rust monsters.
Do a survival check for me. Okay, Gertrude, they're hard to see, but you see, like, not tracks from, like, a creature itself, but you do, like, see bits of the stone, like, look slightly kind of corrode, like very slightly, like almost like they've bubbled slightly and corroded very slightly from some kind of acid. It looks like kind of off color. It doesn't look like it's specifically like gone through or anything, but it just looks like a weird off color on certain aspects of the stone, and it seems to be sort of leading off like past the bodies, and then like from what you can tell, like past the bodies in like a northerly west direction.
Is there any of the sort of acid left, or is it just looks like it's been? Because she'd get her short sword out and put the tip on where it was.
I think if you did that, there would be like a tiny bit of preserved of this like corrosive acid, and as it do, you see it's like sizzles on the top of your short sword. It doesn't destroy it or anything, but it just slightly sizzles on top and makes the like a little few bubbles appear.
Yeah, so she'd point at the she'd use the sword to point at the trail and be like,
it looks like they came from that way.
My mom always says when you want to find something, you got to look at where you've been.
Your mum's very smart, Blossom.
Yeah, she's very clever. Maybe even more clever than you, Gertrude.
I wouldn't put it past your mum, Blossom.
Shall we follow the tracks?
We should see if we can find anything else here before following it, I guess.
Yeah, Firion wants to look to see if there's any like flakes of rust or bits of insect chitin that's fallen off or anything on the ground like that. Anything that isn't from these bodies.
Do an investigation check for me. Hard to see anything specific, but you do find like a tiny little bit of like sort of chitinous like skin kind of that's kind of like clipped off, like a tiny little bit, and you're like, it's kind of like almost on like the side of an arm of one of the victims. You kind of pick it off and you're like, oh, it's kind of curious. Beyond that though, you don't really see anything. It's
something insectoid.
Maybe we should have a look at the corpses just to make sure that there isn't anything ulterior going on. Maybe it wasn't just rust monsters.
Oh, can they fly? Maybe they're on the roofs. She's looking up at the roofs.
I assume Gertrude, no, they can't fly.
Yeah, they can't fly.
No, they're stuck on the ground, Blossom.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, Firion will inspect the closest body.
What's he looking for?
I think he'd look for. I mean, you talked about some of the marks on them before. Because he's only checking the first body, I think he just wants to do a thorough check of the injuries themselves.
Yeah, do a medicine check for me.
Watcha. Ooh,
Okay.
22.
You see a number of like burn marks from this like acid, which has like bubbled up some of their flesh. You can see that one of them, they're kind of like it's kind of like into their eye socket, and it's kind of like made their part of their eye kind of like skin corrode back slightly. You can see there's a number of like stabbing wounds, like across their chest, but they look like they look very random, and they look very kind of the size of the wounds, like it's quite almost like the skin's been like teared downwards at times, and it looks like it's very like inconsistent and random for where it might be, and some of them aren't as deep as the other ones.
So it looks feral. It doesn't look like a...
Yes, I would describe it as feral.
Seems consistent with a creature.
Gertrude just survey with the trail, the amount of dead bodies, the damage to the bodies, like how many rust monsters there could have been.
Yeah, do an investigation check for me based off the wounds. And okay, I think with that, and then Firion's medicine check on top of that, Firion, you would be able to tell these wounds are quite large, even for a rust monster. And with Gertrude mentioning that, and on top of that, and she's kind of like pointing stuff out, with your sort of combined effort, you think that this particular rust monster is probably quite large.
Okay.
But you're not certain if there's more than one, but you think that whatever did this is probably like larger than a regular rust monster. I think Gertrude, with your previous nature check, you might be like, maybe a queen?
Well, whatever it is pretty big.
No sign of ulterior motives yet, though.
If it's a queen, maybe it's trying to start a colony here.
Up on the surface?
I don't know, Firion, but it seems like, well, if you were going to release something in, well, a city that's famed for its industry, having a flesh eater, a rust monster colony in it would be a good way to sabotage the whole place.
It's undeniable.
Should we see where it went then? Follow wherever you said it was, Gertrude?
Yeah, she point at it. It's like,
Do you think we've got everything we can for here for now?
We could see if there are any witnesses, I suppose.
Well, that's a good idea, Firion. Hello, is anyone around? Did you see a big... I don't know what it looks like, Firion.
Groundswell looks over, she's like, hello, can I help?
I know you, Godman, in just talking to anyone in the houses around, you know.
We've had to close off all the houses for now, I'm afraid.
Well, that was silly. Where did they go?
They're currently even staying at the prayer foundry whilst we make sure everyone's safe.
Okay. Firion, the city man moved all the people, so we can't ask them.
Yes, I heard Blossom. You were speaking at a conversational level.
Okay.
Lead on, Gertrude. I think perhaps the tracks is the way to go.
Okay.
so she'd try and follow the tracks, and she'd point them out to Firion because, well, he's the nature man.
Okay,
Yeah.
with that, then Firion make a survival check with advantage. Okay, she's essentially.
Yeah.
Holy shit, 23.
Woo.
You see that, Firion, that with that check, you spot something that Gertrude didn't, with her survival previously. You notice the same discolouring on the stone and it kind of heading off this northwesterly direction. But there's one thing you do notice that's kind of like strange, is that there's kind of like this occasional bits of like wood shavings that kind of just scattered, like kind of near these discoloured things, but they're not immediately obvious because like look like they've been sort of wetted, and like to an untrained eye they would just, you think, oh, they're just wood shavings on the floor, like no big deal. But you kind of like think, based on the way this discoloured stone is going and these wood shavings, it's kind of like similarly in a similar direction. You're like, I think this might be related.
Seems to be a trail of shavings from wood. It's odd.
Would they use the wood shavings as some sort of packaging as they brought it in? I don't know.
It's possible. They certainly wouldn't expect wood in its natural underground domain.
Firion begins to follow the shavings and the discolorations.
Mm-hmm.
Would Gertrude know if there's like a carpenter's or a something like that, a woodworking place anywhere near here?
There would be. You would also do like do an intelligence check, Gertrude, to see. She did go into Upper but you went for specific things.
Oh!
Okay, in that case, you think that you would know that with Huppadook, there is a lot of warehouses in Huppadook that hold loads of different materials, hold the materials for the war effort, but just general sort of metals and stuff, and often they keep them like you would know with that check that they often keep them like a lot of the deliveries are just in general, not just in Huppadook but throughout the Empire, often are kept with wood shavings in the box to keep things sort of secure and soft to make sure they don't get damaged.
Oh, so I had a good idea before. She'd be like, oh, maybe it was in a box. Maybe it was packaged and delivered or something.
Would certainly be the case for foul play.
You would know, Gertrude, also that many of the warehouses are on like this side of the city up here. Like all of these buildings are practically like, all warehouses, pretty much.
Yeah, so as they're following the trail, she's expecting it to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose the trail, she'll look at alleys and things that head up that way.
Okay, so with Firion's 23 on a survival, you at least managed to follow like up to here, Firion, with bits where then it sort of starts to fade out a little bit, but it's hard to tell from here on out where it goes exactly, the trail, but it's heading to the sort of area that oh, excuse me. Oh, that went right down the wrong way. Into the area that Gertrude suspected.
Trail gets muddled around here.
Muddled?
It doesn't follow a clear path.
Guess we'll have to check everywhere then.
So are they in the area of the warehouses?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just fucking choking to death here.
I think it was like all this area, right?
Yeah, and curving all the way round up as well. You would see there are a number of warehouses here. You see multiple people at work moving heavy boxes. You see big wagonfuls full of supplies that are being pulled in and out of these places. Heavy like winch lifts that are carrying like big heavy crates full of things, and people like calling out and kind of shouting around. There's plenty of people moving about, very busy at work here, it looks like.
Is there one that goes, Davey?
Yeah, there is. Davey, don't drop that! Fact,
And has anyone seen a rust monster?
one of them sort of looks towards you as you do. Oh, sorry. And he's just like, what?
You know, the thing that is made of rust, but is not made of rust, and it eats rust, but is, you know,
No,
alive.
it is. Never seen one. That's the sort of thing you find in mine shafts, isn't it?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I ain't seen one.
Not over there, then. Maybe over here. Hey, you over there, have you seen a rust monster?
Another
Basically
man
keeps
just kind of,
going.
yeah, and they're just like, no, we haven't seen any restaurants. So.
Perhaps our line of questioning should be more circumspect. You could ask them if they'd seen anything out of the ordinary.
Circumspect. Have you seen stuff that's not ordinary, Mr. Man?
Not really, no. Well, there's lots of righteous brands leaving the city at the moment. They say there's all the bad stuff going on in the war, so that's pretty bad. But, you know,
Well,
that's pretty
bad,
out of the
but-
ordinary.
Well, I guess he's right, to be honest. That's pretty out of the ordinary.
Firion turns a slightly desperate look towards Gertrude.
Gertrude.
Maybe there's some sort of centralised building where the deliveries are logged, but that seems kind of unlikely.
Hey, Mr. Man, is there a centralised building where the stuff is logged?
Not really. I mean, you got the biggest suppliers around here bringing the, you know, spark hammers stuff.
Spark killers?
No,
That's us.
no spark hammers.
Okay, oh, they must be our rivals, Fiona and Gertrude.
Where are they?
They're like closer to the wall. The spark hammers stuff. They up at the sort of this area.
Oh.
You know, they keep. That's where the biggest shipments come in. You know, they get lots of stuff. I think. You know, like weapons and all kinds of materials moving out, but they also bring in all the, you know, lots of the goods as well.
Or anywhere? Well, I know that obviously we're at war with the Kryn dynasty, but
The Cricks, that's what they're called. Don't call them by that name, love. You don't have to like play fancy around here. We know what they're really fucking called.
yeah. But is there any trade that still happens in between those cities, between here and there?
Between here and the dynasty? Where are you fucking from?
Well,
Are you fucking joking?
I'm not from here, so
We're nowhere in the Empire dealing with anyone in the dynasty, love.
I mean more black market, underground kind of things.
Kind of looks left and right. Do a persuasion check. Holy
Oh my
shit.
god, Gertrude, you're
What
popping.
do you say, like, exactly, Gertrude, just to... You're
There
trying
are
to
any
give...
sort of places that deal in exotic items which they can't legally enter the Empire?
Kind of walks up towards you, and he's like... asking an awful lot of questions. That's your little girl. You can see he's, like, holding his hand out in, like, a... almost like a waiting fashion.
Holding it out how?
He's sort of holding it, like gesturing it forward with like a sort of cupped hand kind of thing, and holding it just in front of him, like kind of casually, but kind of just as if he's not really doing it, but he's kind of like waving his hand, like sort of he's holding part of his elbow with one arm, and then the other hand is kind of like going back and forth in this kind of like with this kind of cupped hand motion, and he's just like, awful lot of questions.
She'll do the same thing back. I don't know what he's doing.
Do an intelligence check for me.
It's like a secret handshake, but I don't think it's crazy.
He wants some money.
Yeah, you can determine that he looks like he's gesturing his hand and it's like, wants some gold.
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just we halflings are just curious.
And she gives him 2 platinum.
Ooh.
He kind of looks down, his eyes go wide, he's like, holy shit. He kind of leans in quietly, he's like, I'm not supposed to be saying this to anyone, so, you know, keep it quiet, yeah? But,
What?
you know, there's rumours that certain people round here have been, you know, just moving some things from, you know, from things from Shady Creek Run down here, you know.
Tyrion's ears prick up.
Some of the families, the tribes up there, you know, they like to get their hands on some things the Empire doesn't allow, you know, and the people in the Menagerie Coast are always looking for, you know, exotic things to move through. So there's certain people through here will, you know, turn a blind eye to it. Nothing wrong with it, really. It's a stupid rule anyway, to ban certain, you know, just people trying to just have a good time.
We all need a bucks fizz.
He winks. He's like, yeah, we all need our bucks fizz. That's all I'm telling you, though, you know.
Would actually know what Shady Creek Run or where it is?
Do a quick history check for me. You would know that Shady Creek Run is to the north, near it's like in the north. Let me just get my map out, so I'm just looking exactly. I know it's in the north, but just trying to judge where it is compared. Where is my map? It's not loading. So you know that Shady Creek Run is sort of closer to the graying wildlands, which are like further to the north, where it's a lot colder. You don't really know much about it beyond there. You know that Shady Creek Run is essentially like a massive city, but you don't know, with that role, you don't know much beyond that. You just know it's a place in the north.
Oh, so he hasn't actually said where anything comes in from this place.
What do you mean?
Well, if stuff's coming into the Empire, right?
The Graying Wildlands is beyond the Empire. It's not part of the Empire.
No, but I mean, he's told us that stuff does come in, but he hasn't actually told us where to in this city.
Yeah,
He said certain people.
He just said certain people and rumours.
Do you know any of these certain people?
He kind of holds his hand out again in a kind of gesturing kind of process.
She gives him 20 gold.
Well, again, I don't know this for certain, but there's certain rumours that go around that some of the Sparkhammer stuff comes in that's a bit, a little bit under the table. and some of us occasionally, you know, not naming names, not anyone I know personally, but you know, certain people just trying to, you know, make a little bit of earning way. It's wartime, you know, it's hard times for people, you know, trying to make an honest living. So, you know, sometimes people, you know, just turn a blind eye to things, like I said. Nothing wrong with that, you know. Like I said, it's just, you know, these are just simple goods that, you know, just, it's not a big deal. You know, back down on the Menagerie Coast, they wouldn't even blink an eye at this stuff. It's not like it's weapons or anything, you know. You know.
She looks at at Blossom, and she's like,
I'm sure Bastista would like this, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing.
Thank you for your help with finding places.
she winks.
What help?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, you know, it's... Have a good day, love. Nice to see people in the city. Back to work. He kind of sort of goes off.
Well, see, you get loads of information from people.
I guess we should get off to spark cameras then.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Okay, so you make your way further up the street and eventually you find yourself at a series of large warehouses that are all kind of interconnected with each other. You see you see a number of different people working here, like humans, gnomes. You see even a Goliath man who's kind of doing a lot of heavy lifting. A number of dwarfs you see as well. Seems to be fairly busy. It seems to be quite a busy day.
So he didn't say what stuff was here, he just said stuff.
Well, we knew what we're looking for, and I guess the creature's diet was metal, so maybe we should start someone who trades in ingots.
Hey, Mr. Man over there. Do you know where there's lots of rust?
What?
You know, lots of rust. You know, rusty stuff. Stuff you leave out in the rain for too long and it goes all brown.
Why would you want rusty stuff? I don't get it.
Oh, she means like unprocessed ferrous ore.
Oh, I don't know. They usually move that around in the mines, don't they, and store it. They usually put that straight through for processing, I think. Don't usually send it up to the warehouse much.
Do you know where the processed iron is stored?
I think there's one of the warehouses in the back that does it, I think. There's lots of different stuff kept here, though. Nothing sort of uniform. It's all stored together, really.
Is there like a manifesto anywhere that we can peruse, or is that strictly private?
It's private property, love. Why are you asking so many questions?
I've lost my card to the bus.
Do a deception check with disadvantage. Four. Okay, let's see.
Oh, almost the two.
All right. I think you should be on your way. You know, we don't like shifters walking around here causing trouble.
Shifted?
You know, shifty types.
It's a bit rude.
Well, she's not shifty, Mr. Man, but we're just looking for rust monsters, you know? That just could be anywhere.
Never heard of them.
They eat rust, so that's why...
Insight check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
feel free.
Gertrude would as well.
Okay.
I think Blossom would.
Gertrude, this guy's kind of hard to read, but you get like a little sense that maybe that was a lie. And Firion, you're like, this guy's fucking lying, almost definitely. You just got like a natural instinct for it.
Firion just baldly says, like, conversationally, he's lying.
Oh, Mr. Man, my friend says you're lying. That's bad, you know. You got to tell the truth. My mum says you always got to tell the truth, even if it's a sad truth, you know. But you know, you tell the truth.
You kind of just like, what the fuck is this? Is something? I could call the Crown Skull with you shifters coming around here.
Gertrude shows him the badge.
Well, you know, fuck this. Like, I'm going back to work, and he just like walks away.
Blossom's gonna follow him. It's like, no, you got to tell the truth, Mr. Man. You got to tell us the truth. You know about these rusty monsters.
He's just like, leave me alone. I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Gonna jump on him.
You're gonna jump on him?
Yep.
Okay, I will warn Blossom.
Yeah.
That. Let's check something.
That he's wearing a suicide vest.
I will say
He's
that
a kobold.
assault, you can be charged with 30 days incarceration and or a fine of 350 gold pieces.
It's not assault. She's just jumping on him, and it's also she's a sheriff, so you know.
Okay, make a athletics check. Okay, he's gonna make an acrobatics check. Yeah, Blossom manages to jump onto this guy, and he's like, he's like waving around trying to get her off, but he can't. He's like, get off me! What's going on?
I'm just holding on to you, Mr. Man, so you don't keep running away from me.
There's other people start
you're
looking
too
out into the
sneaky.
street, like, what the fuck's going on? And they just see this like guy like sort of waving around with this sort of like little girl almost size, like holding onto him, just like moving her legs around in the wind, and she's just like, he's like, get off me!
As soon as he stops moving forward, she will just jump off. She's like, yes, I told you, Mr. Man, you just tell me the truth, you know?
He's just gonna fucking leg it then. If you're not holding on to it anymore, he starts running off in this direction.
He's getting
as
away,
fast as he
Gertrude.
can.
Gertrude would point at him and be like,
That man's involved in black market trading.
The other people in the street are just looking around like, the fuck's going on? Like, and they're just kind of like, a lot of them just looking out like, kind of interested, seeing this guy running around, and they're looking at Blossom like, oh fuck, is she a troublemaker? And yeah, seeing Gertrude, some of them are like, okay.
Aw. Shouldn't have let him go, Gertrude.
Some don't care.
He's silly.
I'd say we have a pretty strong indication that there is foul play now. Could report this straight to the...
Oh, fuck, now Tom's forgotten it. Zerosta.
Starosta.
Stirosta, I almost had it.
Yeah, I guess so. I just wish, you know, you got more, you know?
Maybe if we reported it, they could send some guards to go through the inventory.
He was acting out of fear, Blossom. I don't think he would have told us anything.
I guess so. But they did say this was our mission, though, so I don't think they're going to be able to send people down. So maybe we just carry on and look.
Yeah. Let's investigate the warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay, so, are you going to, what, are you looking for anything specifically, or are you just sort of searching around in general?
Firion did say about the like wood chippings, didn't he? So
Yeah.
looking for wood chipping place.
Okay, do an investigation check, me, Blossom, or if anyone wants to do one, or Anyone's
Yeah, someone
helping?
else do. Fucking hell.
Alright,
Don't
we'll do it.
mind.
Unless Gertrude wants to do it.
Fearing can do it.
Hudja!
Holy
Oh my
shit!
Hey.
So eventually, you. Oh God, keeps going down the wrong way. Oh, sorry. Drinking too fast. Eventually, you slowly make your way, kind of like looking around the outsides of these warehouses, trying to be inconspicuous and kind of looking in, because most of these are like pretty much open, like with an open kind of like shutter with wooden gates mostly, and most of them are kind of bringing stuff in and out constantly on carts, so you can kind of like move past. And eventually, Firion, you get quite lucky as you're walking past and you see that this one like box kind of like fall off the top, and they're like whoa, 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 and then it like smashes down to the floor, and you see this box break open and all this sawdust come out up in this sort of area up here near the spark cameras. You see a number of sawdust that, to you, with that investigation check, looks similar to the stuff that was on the street, you think?
We've definitely found our place.
Think we should sneak in?
Could certainly try. It is daytime.
There's a lot of workers around. It looks fairly open. Though, like I said, the gates are kind of opening and closing like all the time, and
We could come back in the evening then. And then we go kill these. We're going to deal with the rusty thingies.
Well, we have the authority.
Fuck! Still roster. There we go, I saved it.
We have the authority of the Starosta. We could walk in and inspect.
But then they're bound to hide anything that could be strange.
I suppose so.
But maybe not. We can always try and then, if it fails, come back later.
It's up to you. I mean, I'm willing to sneak in any time.
Gertrude's not sure.
The Wild Mother clearly wished for us to work together. I would have everyone's wisdom.
I think we come back at night, because then we can go deal with these rusty things first, and then... I mean, I suppose you could ask them nicely. Now.
They're criminals, Blossom.
Oh, that's true. Criminals are pretty dumb.
Gertrude?
Well, I don't know if we've already provoked suspicion, but... yeah. I don't know.
You're the clever one, Gertrude. What do you think? Do we come back at night, or we go in now?
We could try both. I don't... If we sneak in later, then we can... If we try now, we can probably get a good lay of the place, and then you can sneak in later when you know the layout. So it seems like both could work well together. It's just if we provoke suspicion, but, well...
So
Okay.
we shouldn't be open with our intentions now.
Oh. Should I wait out here?
Well, if you're going to sneak in, you're not going to want to be seen anyway, so I don't think it would matter.
Okay. Let's go in.
If we are confronted, what will we say is the purpose of our visit?
Do we really like sawdust, and we want some for our beds?
It seems fair to me.
No. maybe... Well, we know that the rust monster, we know what it eats. Maybe we should ask where their metals are? But then it would be seem kind of dumb to store it with the metals.
True. We could always pretend we are inquiring about exotic goods.
Yeah.
Exotic sawdust. Got it.
Well, Blossom, maybe... What... Do you know anything you really want from somewhere and you can't get it from the Empire?
Don't know, does she?
Do history check for me if you want. You would probably know that. Let me just think. I have to go quick look at something. Read.
I hear the Kryn fireworks are twice the size of Empire fireworks.
Is there some sort of exotic creature from the Kryn dynasty which one that either of you could be interested in?
Oh my god, a moorbounder.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a particular one you could. Yeah, that would be a particular one. I would stand out to me. Yeah, like any sort of exotic animals, exotic, like there's lots of different things. Exotic like materials, exotic jewels that might be illegal in the Empire. For example, like Tom suggested, a moorbounder. They're like giant cats, like sort of like almost like. Let me show you what they look like.
They're so cool.
Moorbounder, where are they?
I think whatever we do, there should be an element of truth to it, so it's harder to see through our real intentions.
Perhaps you need some kind of banned preservative chemical, Gertrude.
I was thinking more scripture, which you can't get in the Empire.
Ah, some of the banned deities.
Yeah, sure. Banned knowledge.
It's cute. I like it.
Yeah, they can be used as mounts and stuff like that.
Nice.
So cool.
So we could say we're a consortium of interested parties who are inquiring together for specific items which we can't obtain within the Empire.
Yeah, we should do that. And what should I do with this badge? She just covers it up with her hand. This will do, I think.
Maybe put it in your trousers, Blossom.
Oh, you don't think this will work? And she just sort of does little hand motions in front of it.
Well, it could, but maybe we shouldn't take the risk.
Oh, okay. She puts it in her bag.
Okay. So, what you guys are gonna go in and try and inquire about finding exotic goods?
Yeah, I guess.
So you sort of move into this gate, one of the gates, and you see a lot of the workers don't even pay you mind, kind of thing. As you walk up, and you walk sort of into this warehouse, which has. Actually, I have a map as a visual guide, so let me just grab it. Where is it? It is. So I'll move you across. Feel free to place your tokens down here. Let me grab.
Did we decide on what Blossom wanted? Just in case they ask.
Blossom want a moorbounder.
Yeah. I want a big cat. I want to ride on this big cat. It's cute.
Seems good to me.
Varian wants drugs. Spice.
If you're going to say the spice must flow.
No.
Oh.
Hello, my name is Derek Shaihulud.
I think Lewis
Spice
picked
must play.
the book that I'd have been the least interested in real life.
Which book?
What, Wildemount?
Oh no, Batista.
Oh.
Oh! I love him. Firion was going to get very snarky with him, but I decided against it. When he was talking about supply and demand, he's going to be like, maybe you should think about the demand for talking on the subject.
You'd be like, yeah, talking, we do loads of that. Like, the thing is, if you just talk to random people, it's good for your business.
As I've written in my book, making money in your spare time.
Best book. Right, so you head on in, I assume?
Oh, fuck, I brought Firion.
Yeah.
So you head on in, you see a number of workers, mostly humans, like I said, dwarfs. There's a huge Goliath here. That's sort of, they're lifting boxes, just look like they're working away.
I guess we just walk in.
Okay, sorry. Is it open?
It is, yeah. So as you're walking into this warehouse, you can see, like one of the workers sort of turns towards you, and he's sort of like, "Can I help you?"
Do you have a moorbounder?
He looks to you like, "What? What is a moorbounder?"
It's a big cat. Do you? It's a secret big cat. You can't get it anywhere else. But I heard you could get a big cat here, the moorbounder.
No, we don't do anything like that here.
Can we talk
So-
to your boss? We have some business we would like to discuss with him.
The boss is in the office if you want to make your way in there.
Thank you.
He points to sort of this room over here. As you enter the room, you see a large, dark-skinned man sitting behind a table. And then in front of him, you see another man. Let me just quickly... Sorry.
Do you have a moorbounder?
You see another man that immediately turns around, and you recognise him as the man who ran away from you.
It's you.
He's like,
I
"Oh,
knew you had a moorbounder.
hey, it's the ones I told you about, boss. They're like causing trouble or something."
No, we're just looking for goods. Oh, sorry, I mean commodities.
Yeah, they're definitely causing trouble, boss. That halfling jumped on me, and she was trying to ask, I don't know what she's doing.
Well, you try and get away from me, and all I want is a moorbounder.
Do a persuasion check.
She's consistent in her message.
The guy behind the desk sort of says, my workers, you shouldn't, I take this complaint very seriously, if you are causing trouble, I will, not hesitate to call the grounds guard, please, I'd ask you to leave.
We were told that you are dealing illicit goods.
We do not deal in illicit goods.
Do an insight check.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Actually, you're not sure. Firin, you think, like, once again, this guy is most certainly lying.
I think we both know that you wouldn't want the Crown's Guard here.
Do an intimidation check.
Oh, my intimidation's great. 6.
I think Blossom would add to it. He thinks you're lying out your bum hole, Mr. Man.
Do an intimidation check, Blossom. It's a bit... With Blossom kind of saying that on top of it, she's like... This is most rude and inappropriate. What? You come into my place of work and start accusing me of dealing in illegal operations? What is this?
We don't want to discuss the merits and, well, the illegality of what you do. We just want to benefit from it.
Do a persuasion check with advantage, Gertrude. Okay. With that, he's like, please take a seat. And this guy's like, really? What's going on? She jumped on my back. He's like, just go. It's fine. It's like, oh, fuck's sake. And just sort of walks out.
I love that guy. Yeah. He's my backup character.
He's like, I don't know how you heard about this place. I don't appreciate you just barging in here in front of my workers and trying to... You're lucky none of the others were in here.
We didn't barge in, the door was open.
Varian's closed the door and he's leaning against it with his arms crossed.
But if you are legitimate and looking for stuff, we do not deal in illegal goods here as such, but we do transport some specifically marked goods here.
Oh yeah, like moorbounders?
Perhaps, yes.
Oh.
And do you,
I don't know exactly. Usually... Look, I do not wish to be in trouble, alright? I simply get paid my wages each month to deliver a special cargo. Make sure it is strapped to whatever cart it needs to be strapped to. And my boss pays me to move this special cargo to the right merchants and transport the goods to other cities, such as Sadash or wherever. Look, I don't wish... Look, if you're coming in here and looking for stuff to buy, I don't sell anything. I simply do this. I don't even know how you would even possibly have heard about me.
How do you know which is the right cargo?
They usually mark it with a red X.
You have any of this cargo right now?
No, Look, this is usually easy money for me. I don't know what they transport. It's usually... I don't even look inside the boxes. Whatever this moorbounder is, I have no clue, but... You know, perhaps whatever it is you're looking for could be in one of these boxes, but it's probably... Most of them are probably halfway on its stash now. Look, but like I said, usually easy money. This most recent shipment clearly had something inside it, but... I'm smart enough not to ask.
where was this current shipment delivered? And
It was delivered yesterday.
is it within the warehouse now?
No. When I came in this morning, the crate it was in was broken. And
So it escaped in your factory. That's sad.
I don't know what it was. Like I said, it's just easy money. I usually just load it up and just simply put it on the right cart. It's not my responsibility. If I wouldn't do it, someone else would.
Who are you gonna deliver it to?
I don't know who it goes to. I am just told to take the marked cargo and place it on specific carts.
You were lucky you weren't killed by what was in that box, as well as your workers.
Well, they've never sent any kind of beast in there before. Whatever broke out, then I'm sorry, but that is the way it goes. Yes.
Who comes and collects it then? It must be somebody. It can't be ghosts.
people come and collect all of the carts and deliver different things to the different cities. That is part of my job usually. That is not unusual. I just make sure these specific boxes are on the right carts.
Mm-hmm.
So where was this box headed?
Zidash, I believe.
So, if we get on the next one that's got a red box on it, then we'll go to the same person.
I mean, sure, but they go to different places all the time. This one, I believe, was said it was Zidash. I cannot remember.
And who is your boss that pays you to do this?
Kind of frowns. And he's like, well, everyone knows who owns these warehouses. I suppose it doesn't matter now. Burles Sparkhammer. You surely know the name.
Yeah, but so you get paid by him to do these deliveries?
I do. I do not wish to have any trouble. I do not sell anything or anything. I'm not in the interest of selling illegal things. If you want me to get me a contact with you, and maybe he can talk to you about something, I don't know, but...
Sounds pretty good.
Okay, well, I can get in contact with him, but it is Mrs. Sparkhammer usually does not operate this way. It is quite strange that you would act this way.
I don't think there's any need to contact him. He's well known here.
Yes.
True. But we are the Spar Killers, and he's the Spark Hammer, so he's our rival.
Right, okay.
May we inspect this box that had the living creature in it?
I already cleared it up.
Can she do an insight check?
Yeah, if you want.
Firion loves rolling insight checks. Oh, shit.
Not sure. As far as you can tell, he seems to be being forthright with this particular bit of information.
Did you see any sort of acid or anything like that?
No. Like I said, I thought there might be something inside it this time. I could hear something sort of bashing against the side. That is most unusual, but I don't know. I just put the boxes on the carts.
No.
If you're looking to buy something specific, then you'll have to talk to Mr. Sparkhammer.
Okay, it sounds like this guy's just a delivery man, Gertrude. He's a bit useless.
But then he is responsible partially for what happened in the city.
She looks at him. Are you a baddie, Mr. Man?
No, what are you talking? Like I said, it's just easy money. I don't complain. I don't make any big thing about it. I just do my job and I get paid for it.
Delivery men are bad.
You lot are really confusing me. First you come in here asking if you want to buy stuff. Now you're acting like the Crown's Guard or something. What is going on here? I'm very confused.
Don't you worry your pretty little head, Mr. Man.
He kind of like looks at you like he's so confused.
Perhaps we'd best be on our way.
It'd probably be best if you didn't tell anyone we came here.
Do an intimidation check.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
She puffs her fringe up in front of her.
I do not want any more trouble, you understand? Like I said, I just... if you're a rival businessman or if you're somehow linked to the Crown's Guard or whatever, I have done nothing illegal. I just simply put the red boxes on the certain carts. I don't know what's in them. I do not know. I'm just told by Mr. Sparkheimer. I do my job.
Well, maybe you should think harder about what you're doing. Good day.
Good day.
Bye, Mr. Useless Delivery Man.
He kind of looks down, it's kind of like set like shamefully as you say that.
Oh.
This guy kind of looks at you just like, you jump on me again.
She does the little two finger watching you sort of thingy. She's like, hmm.
He just sort of runs into the office.
I love that guy.
Okay, I'll move you back to Upper Deek map.
Well, we have some pretty strong connections for potential foul play.
Seems like our rival, Mr. Spar something else bad, is our baddie.
Well,
Do we know where he is?
Don't know.
Is it time to head to the mine?
Yeah, I think so. We can find him later.
yeah, we can even ask the Patricia about
Stirosta.
we can ask the Starosta about him. I'm sure that she knows.
Yes. Keeping
Yeah,
her updated
maybe.
seems wise.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're heading to the mine?
Looks like it.
Then you head back through the busy streets, eventually coming towards the Silberhall mines, readying yourselves to head on downwards and fight potentially whatever is within, and that is where we will end today's session.
Yay!